Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Loosey-goosey edition of the program as it's Libations Friday. Indeed. Good to have you along. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, good thing for us and you. We post the show, all 3 hours of it, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion. It's also on the WTSM app. Feel free to email us if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. And you can watch us on YouTube if you want. Hello, YouTubers. Good to see you. Happy Friday. ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube, Jeff Cameron Show. Periscope it at 979 ESPN Radio on Twitter. I think we're caught up. Big night. We've got a lot going on the weekend. Obviously, later tonight, FSU soccer with a chance to move on and play for a national title, but tall task here as they got to take on the defending national champions in Stanford. The College Cup is set, and we're looking forward to it. And if the Noles are able to get the win, they will take on the winner of North Carolina and Georgetown. And, of course, we just got done beating North Carolina and route to an ACC championship. And this has been good form for Florida State as of late, playing nothing but ranked teams and winning those games. So now on the eve of this, Krikorian's got him there again. He recruits exceptionally well. It's a style of play that a lot of the international players flock to, and we all know about Castellanos, but this team is loaded. So it's fun, and we'll be watching tonight, 7:30. I look forward to it. That's a cool lead because anytime the Noles have a team in position to maybe win a championship, well, I get a little edgy, buddy.
What kind of championship? A national championship.
Championship, right. Well, not with tonight's win. That just sets us up for that championship, of course. But, and it will be, again, tall task. Defending national champion Stanford is really, really good, as you know. And I don't watch a lot of Stanford, but I looked at them statistically. I don't watch any Stanford. I haven't seen them play at all.
I like how you caught that. I don't watch a lot of Stanford. I don't watch any Stanford.
Any Stanford, no. I mean, I watch Stanford football and basketball and baseball. That's the end of my Stanford viewing. But
they have every sport there.
They do, literally. Somebody's watching the fencing team currently, I'm sure. When is fencing season?
I don't know.
I don't either. I really would have been stunned.
Was that the one where the kid was taunting the other kid, or was that like wall ball? Remember that? There was a video that went viral. I think it was like one Ivy League school.
Well, that was awesome. I forgot about
remember that.
Yeah.
The kid got in the other's face. He's like all up in.
Yeah, he was serious about it. Yeah.
Sports Center did a special on that.
Bizarre.
I feel like for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I forgot about it. You just said that. Well,
I forget what sport it was. It might have been racquetball or something.
Handball, maybe.
Could have been.
Squash. Might have been squash.
Did you ever play squash?
No, I feel like it was squash.
Okay.
Never played squash. I've played handball, but if you're gonna play handball, I'd rather play racquetball.
I played handball outdoors.
Racquetball's better.
I never played racquetball.
Racquetball's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. Ira plays a lot of racquetball.
So they have racquetball courts in Tallahassee?
All over the place, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I used to go play at Forest Meadows all the time.
I never knew that.
I busted my head wide open playing over at Forest Meadows. Just scared the hell out of everybody. Oh, this is moons ago. But I was playing the guy I used to play on a regular basis. His name was Andy. We used to go to war. We worked together. And he was a little guy, so he was tough to beat because he was quick. And but I had more power than him, and so there was a good battle, contrasting styles. And anyhow, we were going to war, but it got serious. And we would, there was stuff on the line here. And you dive and everything else got after it. And he smacked me in the face with his racket by accident. I was probably out of position. But wore it in the face, and you know how your face bleeds. It was right.
Oh, it just goes.
Oh, it just goes for days, right? That's why it always looks so cool in wrestling. It was right between my eyes, and I felt the crack of the racket, and we played on. So you got to keep playing. And anyhow, the point ended. He goes, "Oh man, I could feel the warmth, and he goes, "Oh, you're busted open." That ain't
and
good.
the tingling in the cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I said, "All right." He goes, "No, like you got a problem." Because apparently it was just like blood everywhere. And I walked outside the racket court. It was indoors. And I walked outside, and the girl at the front desk goes, "Oh, my God, do I need to call an ambulance?" No.
Yeah.
But you could play it to the hilt.
So, well, yes, you could.
Yeah.
So did I ever tell you the time I was playing pickup hockey just after high school, and I blocked a shot in the chest, and my chest started bleeding?
Damn.
Yeah.
Was there like a pebble on the damn?
No, I was the stupid high school kid. I had a necklace on, and I didn't realize. But they're like, your chest is bleeding. I'm like, ha. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
And it pinched, I guess, the metal against my skin, and there was a big red mark in my chest from blocking a slap shot. Yeah.
Ouch. Not surprising there. You heard on SportsCenter that Ed Oliver says, yeah, I'm not going to play the bowl game. I'm good. Not going to do that.
Only if I can wear a coat.
That would have been awesome. It would have been awesome, and I was actually rooting for him to say it in the statement. I didn't want to be chilly, but they refused. So I'll take it to the hotel room.
He's like somehow a big little sweet. If you're going to let me wear a coat.
All-American defensive tackle Ed Oliver playing days at Houston done because he couldn't wear a coat. Excited for the next chapter is what he wrote. Oliver's decision comes a week after he told the Houston Chronicle that he intended to play in the Cougars bowl game despite an aggravated knee injury. Yeah, somebody went, Ed, you're not playing a second. What's wrong with you?
An aggravated what?
You got a knee? Yeah. Yeah, that's not what we do here. He missed 4 games in November because of a bruised right knee, and it was at that point that, was it Major Applewhite?
Yeah, it's Major Applewhite, yeah.
Major Applewhite just said, I'm so tired of you not playing. Take that coat off. You freeze out here. I don't want to be cold, man. I'd like to
You're just a major a-hole is what you are.
Oh, we're off to a flying start. No, it'll be good. Lee Sterling joins us in the 4 o'clock hour. And then from there, obviously, I get an opportunity. Hey, listen. So last night, there it is, Tom. Add to the ledger the number of beers you owe me. Folks, I am beating the brakes off of Tom Lang. Every time we have a bet, I win it. I need to start putting real money on this instead of tall boys. I have been a roll right now. It happens. I've been on the wrong end of this before. Tom's been hot against me. But right now,
my God, I need to charter a beer truck.
You do. My fridge can't stock all the beer that you owe me. It's one
Your
after
fridge
the
is
other.
like, oh, no.
Jeez, did you bet Tom again? Yeah, it's just...
it's like Iago in the Aladdin. He's stuffing the crackers down his throat.
I was yelling at the TV last night. I thought that Dallas was going to choke that away. But the point was that the 7 seemed like a bit much, 7.5, and they don't not just cover, but they win the game. And here's the crazy thing about it, though. Again, looking at those numbers, if I had now, there's no way I could know this. I thought Dallas would show up, play well. That defense is very, very, very good. But we talked so much about the stats yesterday. Drew Brees completing 76% of his passes. The Saints hadn't given up a 100-yard rusher since Week 11, 2017. They only give up 3 yards per carry. All these different numbers that kind of blew us away, right? But I also was looking at the fact that, Dallas would run the ball and keep it out of Drew Brees' hands. Well, that's true, but that's not really why they won. They won because that man had less than 40 yards passing at half. I mean, can you imagine the props on something like that? Drew Brees will throw over under 36 yards at halftime.
Well, and here's the thing is, obviously ball control had a little bit to do with it, which was what you were talking about and the reason why you would pick Dallas in this situation. But I just could not believe how well the defensive backs for the Cowboys were covering downfield. I get it. Good rush defense, all that kind of stuff for the Saints, and the Cowboys can come up and stop the run with those linebackers. I love Jalen Smith and Vander Esch. I mean, usually when Sean Lee is hurt, that means death to the defense completely for Dallas.
Well,
but I could not believe how well they covered everyone downfield. Nobody got open seemingly the entire night. Even the touchdown throw was on a push-off.
Yeah, if you're Dallas, by the way, you've actually found the formula. Now, hold on. Just stay with me here. You found the formula to win the Super Bowl. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but you have found the formula. It's Zeke Elliott touching the ball a minimum. He touched it 29 times last night. Now, it was 23 carries for 76 yards. Not a great night at the office, but it's what you get there, man. You get the ability to hold on to the football. It's very physical. You keep the other team's greatest weapon off the field, and then you throw it to him in the pass game. He's really good there, too. You wear down people. I mean, and look, Dak is not a guy. Now, Dak was good last night. I mean, he held 24-28. But
picking on Eli Apple's ass.
Yeah.
Remember when we wanted him in the trade? I guess not. The guy's damaged goods.
Well, and here's the thing. He was efficient, to say the least. It's just a 73 QBR and whatever number you want to look at. But he's not. He's got to hold on to the football. He's got to stop with the fumbles. The fumbles are pissing me off with him. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But, I mean, whatever. Let's talk about Jameis's fumbles. Ain't nobody fumbling more than him and Mariota. Mariota fumbles every week, literally. But here's the thing. I would say that if they don't turn it over and they play that kind of defense, they are a nightmare. You don't want to play them. That defense is legit.
You know, it was interesting. They were talking about last night the time management situation with 2 minutes to go and the call of the timeout at 2:03,
right,
which affords you a free chance to throw the football. You know, the first thing you think
of. But you just announced to the world what you're going to do.
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are you talking about? Like
no,
in terms of when you call the timeout? Or?
Yeah, by calling the timeout where you did. Now they know what
you
you're
allow
going.
them. You allow them to do whatever that they want to do. I'm talking about a fourth quarter situation, and Troy Aikman he brought it up. If you on that first down play, you let it get to the 2-minute warning before calling your timeout. Chances are on second down they're going to call a run play instead of a pass play.
That's correct.
Because they don't want there's no penalty to call a pass at 2:03 on the clock. This is interesting. Just an interesting bit of strategy there. It didn't occur to me.
Right.
Like typically as a fan, I've always thought the more timeouts you can call before the 2-minute warning, you conserve every second possible. But in that specific circumstance,
and that's what I mean by what you just influenced.
Right. Now, if you call a timeout, there's 2:10 on the clock, they still have to run the ball in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're giving away a play. But at 2:03, probably 2:05, 2:06 is probably the cutoff there. 6 seconds or so.
6 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, you're allowing them a free pass to do whatever the hell they want to do, and that's what ends the football game ultimately. They're in a leverage situation where New Orleans is going to force a field goal, and Breeze is going to be down 6, and he's going to have...
kind of know what's about to happen, perhaps.
Well, perhaps, yeah, and you have, like a minute, 50 seconds to a minute,
and
instead the game's over because of pass interference call.
Sacked twice. By the way, I let him play there. I'm not calling the interference there, but...
That looked like an initial push-off to me. I thought they were just hand-fighting.
I just let them play.
Those officials were terrible last night.
Well, I mean, I don't know why you have the rules in place about the helmet-to-helmet hits if you're just not going to call them. Or if you're going to call them arbitrarily to where something so borderline is clearly not something you could have known in the moment was intended, and then you watch something that is quite clearly intended with the crown of the helmet. That rule's been in place forever. What are we doing here? You got to call that. You can't. It's right in front of you. Listen, I picked Dallas to cover. And so I was glad that they were in a position to do all of that. But honestly, if you're watching that play, my man comes over there and intentionally hit. That's one of those rare times. I never.
Nothing about it looked natural.
No. And and then he knocked his ass out. And then there's nobody paying attention to poor Kamara. I mean, that guy's over there cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs after that hit. And they showed him with the smelling salt. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Anyhow, the one thing to say about that is, as far as 11 carries, 36 yards, Ingram had 27 yards. Dallas' defense ain't having it. I mean, that is a really, really, really good defense. But again, and like you said, Thomas, 5 catches, 40 yards.
I mean, he had to work so hard for the 5.
He didn't do anything.
They covered those kids like blankets. I could not foresee that. I didn't think that was going to happen. Especially, it's Rod Marinelli. You have an antiquated 2. So, and they were obviously throwing wrinkles out there. They had some corner blitzes and stuff that Breeze didn't even see. They had all kinds of stuff prepared for this game because it is one of their Super Bowls. They need this game. They got to have this game. Whereas,
I think they just won the division.
Right.
See, because now they host Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They'll win that game, and then it's over.
Well, and the motivation for New Orleans is there, but it's not quite as desperate as what Dallas is feeling last night before kickoff. But at the same time, like even if, in my mind, I thought they could stop the run, if they could stop Ingram and Kamara, Breeze still down the field that offense is lethal, but apparently not. Apparently it's gettable.
Well, on the road against a good defense, they weren't great. New Orleans wasn't against Minnesota on the road. That's a good defense. They weren't great on the road against Baltimore. Listen, that's the deal. When you got to go on the road and face a really good defense, even though it is on a fast track, you cannot make the assumption that you're going to be able to get whatever you want the way they do when they play at home. It's a remarkable deal there because, first of all, obviously, you think about the defense's get-off, right? Getting after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So I watched last night how that's a really good New Orleans offensive line, and they had no answers off those edges. It was crazy.
They only had to rush 4. That was it.
It was so if you're Dallas, you've turned your whole season around. Garrett saved his job.
Well, and throw their hat in the ring now. We were talking about the NFC playoff picture, and this type of win, it makes a statement. It really does. It's a cliche, but that's a statement win that now you got to think twice about when you're playing or handicapping the Cowboys in the postseason. They've got something for you because Zeke travels. Zeke will travel.
And so does defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you could feel it coming the last couple of weeks watching that team play. You're like, they have really got that Van Der Esch pick turned out to be brilliant. I mean, when he got selected out of Boise State, everybody's like, well, whatever. Well, as we all would, because we don't watch Boise State on the regular, but that dude is really good, and he's everywhere. Every time you watch a Cowboy game, that guy's flying around making plays.
And independent of the dirty play by Jalen Smith, it's so great to see that he's as explosive as he was when he was at Notre Dame, because I can remember doing some work for War Chant at that time and looking at Notre Dame and just doing a write-up on who their best players are from watching the games. Mm-hmm. Jalen Smith could do everything, and so when he went down an injury, I felt extra bad because I had done some, amateur scouting, but I had done some scouting on that guy, and that is absolutely tailor-made for the NFL, and he wasted it in a Fiesta Bowl that doesn't mean anything.
Which is why Ed Oliver and others
he's going to get that second contract. Holy cow.
It's everywhere. But there's no doubt that you got to call that. I mean, I know. He had 9 tackles. He was great. He was everywhere. Van Der Esch had 10 tackles. Those two guys are really good.
And his name escapes me on New Orleans side, but 56, that dude was in every play.
Davis?
Linebacker play last night was incredible. As a Knoll, that's sad. You're just watching a lot of giant linebackers do great things. And
it's funny you bring that up because in addition to really loathing our situation at linebacker here, when we watch the Bucs, we have good linebackers where they're not hurt. But,
Kendall Beckwith's never going to play again.
Have we figured anything out about that?
No. Levante David is currently hurt, and then obviously Kwan's out for the season.
Yeah, you're talking about Demario Davis, by the way.
Demario Davis, yeah.
Davis. All I could remember was Davis, so I looked up his first name. Yeah, Demario Davis is really, really good.
He was everywhere, on the edge, in the middle of the field. He made about 4 or 5 incredible plays in this game that if he doesn't, it's a big play down the field.
6'2", 252 pounds.
Right.
He's got a little something for you, man. And it's funny to watch guys that big play that fast. And I think that's at the root of why we don't see officials play and make calls with any consistency. I watch plays and I go, that is quite clearly what the rule was intended for. You've got to throw that flag. And they act like they don't see it, and I don't think they do. That's because we'll watch a replay and go, how do you not call that? You're standing right there. The only conclusion I can come to, especially since it's a point of emphasis. And I'm telling you, I mean, I know you and I talked off air before the show. They could have called the one. Now, again, I'm not a big proponent for the rule to begin with because the crown of the helmet rule has always been in place. So you could have always called that. So the Smith play should have been called regardless. It could have been 1982. You would have called that, okay? But they just missed that. The play down where they end up eventually getting the stop on New Orleans, the play to their tight end. That's helmet to helmet too. Now I understand he's moving and he
ducked pretty significantly.
But that's what the rule's in place for.
Yeah.
And they usually call that, and they done there. Nobody.
He was knocked out on his feet too.
He was. That's why he lost the ball.
There were a lot of concussions last night. The fullback for New Orleans, remember, all the players were pointing at him, and he had to come off the field because he didn't know where he was. They had to point him to the injury tent. He couldn't find the injury tent.
Yeah, but the emphasis being on player safety, and they bring up that talking point all the time, and then you've got Kamara completely knocked out, and then, he wasn't going to come off the field. It was crazy. And then they find him with smelling salts. Yeah,
right. So even if you miss the call, somebody like the guy upstairs who is supposed to be in charge of these things.
My man is done dealing.
At least he's a candidate for a concussion, guys. You might want to confirm this.
A pretty strong candidate, given that he was limp as he fell to the ground, and that 255-pound man hit him in the head with the crown of his helmet.
Okay, so you told me this morning that you were watching the game and you were in the back room last night. So
I was.
Did you have the volume up at all?
Yeah.
Like, can Christy sleep with the volume on?
Yeah, she was doing some other work, so I was watching the game.
Okay, Did you hear the exchange between Aikman and Joe Buck?
Which one?
It was the one at the end where Cole Beasley, he's tackled by P.J. Williams, and they give him the first down. And Troy Aikman, who's getting worse.
By the way, don't you love that P.J. Williams is out there still making plays? Yeah, me too.
That was tough because they had motion before the play, and he had to catch up to him, and then it was a double move. I mean, that's a tough ask. He actually did tackle him a yard short, but the referees ruled that his knee was not down yet. Beasley's wasn't, and so they got the first down out of it. Troy's getting worse, first of all, as the years go, and I wonder if that's the effects of.
He had a lot of concussions. Yeah.
So he says, I think his knee is down, and Joe Buck goes, it doesn't matter because they can't challenge. He yells. And Troy goes, Joe, that's what I was going to say.
It's like a married couple.
Yes.
That's so good. Don't you like when
Troy's
that's
like,
revealed?
don't jump down my throat. I'm analyzing the damn game, and that's the point I was going to arrive at.
I had it down low or something. I
Oh,
don't think I
my
God.
God.
The tone.
It doesn't matter because they can't challenge.
Yeah.
Like almost as though he was a Cowboys fan, Buck in the moment, or a Saints fan in the moment. But Aikman's like, Joe. Joe, that's what I was about to say.
The Joe part.
That's my point.
My favorite part about the Joe part is that it speaks to being so bitterly disappointed by somebody you care for. And
their next two bits of talking was very distant.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
they're on the way home from an argument after a dinner. She, in this case, he is looking out the window at the buildings, and he's looking straight ahead, driving down the road. Who's going to break the silence?
Well, and Aikman, is he in this situation? Because Aikman was fuming. You can tell he's locked in.
You sit over there and shut your mouth. I don't want to hear from you again, Joe. Oh, that's it, Kathy. Get the kids. We're leaving. Go to the parking lot. Drive my ass all the way over here.
From Raleigh, Durham to watch 35 to nothing.
First, get to the car. This is ridiculous. Joe, they go to commercial break. Joe, I don't even know who you are anymore.
And Wingo, and we're giving you and a friend the ultimate college football experience at the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship Game.
We're taking care of airfare, hotel, tickets, donuts.
Are donuts really included?
Nah, but it sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
The Golic and Wingo College Football Playoff Contest. Earn your shot to attend the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T. Tune in to Golic and Wingo from now through December 5th for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. For official contest rules, go to ESPNRadio.com.
97.9 ESPN Radio congratulates the Chairs Eagles Pop Warner football team on making the Pop Warner Super Bowl. Set to start December 2nd at Disney's Wide World of Sports in Orlando. The Eagles could use your help. With on-field success comes expenses for travel and meals for additional games. If you can offer support, head to 97.9 ESPN Radio's Facebook page or check out at 979 ESPN Radio's pinned tweet, which includes a link to a GoFundMe campaign for the Eagles. Any help is greatly appreciated. And best of luck to the Chairs Eagles in Orlando.
Where did Zingooglies go? I've missed that place.
Zingales? It just opened back up in a new and non-smoking location on Appalachian Parkway, right next to Olive Garden.
Zingales is non-smoking now?
Zingales is non-smoking, so it's ideal for business meetings, birthday and grad parties, or game day get-togethers.
Sounds like Zingales has really stepped up its game.
Zingales, ma'am.
All right. And it is big enough for 20 pool tables, duck pin bowling, darts, golden tee, and shuffleboard.
I guess it's time to go to...
Yes?
Zagamon's?
Zingales. With everything from A to the Z.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega, as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill and Mike's Marine Supply.
This football season, cater your tailgate with Guthrie's. Guthrie's is a family-owned and operated restaurant that has been proudly in business for over 50 years. Since 1978, everybody has been falling hard for those golden fried chicken fingers, crispy fries, buttery Texas toast, creamy coleslaw, sweet tea, and of course, the signature sauce. Guthrie's is perfect for a school night dinner, tailgate party, or both. 2 Tallahassee locations, North Monroe Street or 1818 West Tennessee. Guthrie's Chicken, creator of the original chicken finger box and sauce.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Hi, I'm Alan Willis, the General Manager of 97.9 ESPN Radio here in Tallahassee. We have a rare sales position opening. If you have outside sales experience, a great positive attitude, if you're a team player, passionate about working, love sports, and most importantly, a self-starter with a proven record of success, then email me your cover letter and resume today at alanwillis@979espnradio.com. You'll be responsible for generating new business and growing some existing accounts for the only sports radio station in town through working face-to-face with advertisers and business owners. The advertising business is fast-paced, exciting, and can be lucrative. Our employees are our most important resource. So if you think you have what it takes and are ready to join our winning team, please email me your cover letter and resume today to Alan Willis at 979espnradio.com. That's Alan, spelled A-L-L-E-N. 97.9 ESPN is locally owned and operated station and an equal opportunity employer. No phone calls, please.
Shop Lowe's and save on a Craftsman 81-piece mechanics tool set, now just $89.98. The set includes drive tools, sockets, an extension, and a 120-tooth ratchet with a 3-degree arc swing, making it easier to get into those hard-to-reach spaces. Plus, it's backed by a full lifetime warranty, so you can be sure the tool you need will be there when you need it. Get yours today at Lowe's, the new home of Craftsman. Valid through 12/5 while supplies last. See store for details, U.S. only.
Tallahassee has always loved the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway for its delicious food, cold drinks, and Vegas wall of 8 50-inch flat-screen TVs. Now, the Corner Pocket gives you a new reason to start off every week at the CP. Monday Night Mania. Enjoy 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers of beer every Monday night from 7:30 till 11 p.m. That's right, 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers as you enjoy Monday night on the gridiron. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Monday Mania. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man, that's a young Tweety right there.
He got old, didn't he?
Yeah. Hear how young that voice sounds? It was great. Better days, he and Farr got along at this point. And Uncle Tupelo was good because of it. That said, Charlie Weiss is still fat. Tom sent me an email, not you, but a listener, saying that he found a recent shot of good old Charlie Weiss, and he was wondering how the belt was doing, because remember I did a bit on a regular about Charlie Weiss's belt.
With the rhinestones.
Oh, weren't they special? For a while there, all the coaches did that thing with the rhinestones. That was a big to-do, the wood belt with the rhinestones. Ridiculous. It was ridiculous in real time. Everybody should have known that.
Yeah, it was.
I was always like, that's not what you do right there.
Yeah, you like walk by in the bookstore, you're like,
oh.
Is that a collar or a leash?
What are you doing with that?
That's not a belt.
It's ridiculous.
Surely it can't be.
No, I know. But he had that belt, and that belt was screaming for mercy. On the regular, you could just see all the fibers go, oh, Jesus! He's animated. Hang in there. But it appears that he's been collected. He wears nothing but sweats these days.
That's my mic was on, sorry.
He wears nothing but sweats these days. Stretch fabric.
There's audio of the belt being applied and tightened.
Yeah. Northern Illinois and Buffalo, 7 o'clock, just before our soccer team plays. You can watch that at Ford Field in Detroit. What a matchup. And then tonight, 8 o'clock, Utah and Washington for the Pac-12. We got football, and listen, now's not the time to scoff, friends. We are limited to just a precious few remaining contests. This is what you do. I appreciate Tom's email to the program updating me that Charlie is still fat, but has switched from belt to stretch fabric. Belts,
Guys should take better care of themselves.
Have you seen this story? And I have now seen 6 different pieces of footage, and the best one yet is this one where you can see the overhead shot camera that is witnessing this poor bastard on his first ever hang gliding flight, which went south. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah.
Have you seen the footage of the one from above? Not the one from the guy that forgot to put the harness on his companion, but the one.
I haven't seen the one from above.
Oh no, because it gives you the shot of the ground below, and that's a different.
It's tasty.
It's unbelievable. If you don't know, here's the deal. A rider's first hang gliding flight turned harrowing after the pilot forgot to hook him into the harness. And you can hear him go, "You ready?" And the guy goes, "Yes." But he sounds like he wants to ask a question. And this is a lesson. If you have a question, depending on the circumstance, you got to know your surroundings. You got to understand when, why, how to ask these things. When you're in class and the teacher is quite clearly, or the professor is quite clearly about to let everybody go, and a question occurs to you, but you're going to be released 10, 15 minutes early, and you can see people already angling for the door, don't ask that question. Let everybody leave.
That's how you get your ass kicked.
That's how you get an ass kicking. So you let that question go, let everybody leave, and then if you still want to ask it, you got a little time, go up to the professor yourself.
Oh, they're happy to do that, too.
Of course they are.
They love that
They
crap.
can't wait. Office hours are always open. Come on. Yeah. So anyhow, there you go. So
that was me once upon a time.
But here's the deal, right? So that's when you don't ask it. When you're about to leap off a cliff and you're not sure that the harness has been secured properly, speak up, sir. We're going to need to ask that question.
Yeah.
You can't, get on a roller coaster and say, I think this bar is a little loose. You need to ask the damn question.
Get me on the rock and roller coaster. Everybody good? I don't want to be a bother.
Right.
But you know
doesn't
what?
Feel good to me.
Let's just go with it. Let's go with it.
Is this supposed to just be able to rise up back and forth, like this? Look, I heard everybody else's were clicking. Mine just seems to be willy-nilly. So my man said, "Are you ready?" He goes, "Yeah," but he sounds apprehensive. And when you watch the video, you're yelling, "Dude, you need to ask that guy whether or not he's done the harness. And by the way, why are you with anybody who would forget such a detail?" This guy, Chris Gursky, has now shared his extremely frightening near-death experience in Switzerland to YouTube. You can find it everywhere. In the footage, Gursky quickly realizes just after takeoff that, the harness isn't on. I'm dangling. Holy Jesus. We're off a cliff. Can you imagine the courage it would take for me to get to, because I don't like things like this, you know that. I get sweaty palms. It bothers me. Heights, that is. The courage it would take for me to get to a place where I would allow, we're in Switzerland. It's beautiful. So many people have done it. Honey, let's just go with the man and ride and do the hang gliding experience.
It would be about 2 bottles of tequila is what it would take.
Well, maybe more. I'd have to be blotto. So they would have
Let's do it.
Yeah. So here's my man. He agrees to go on this thing. It's going to be beautiful. Oh, what a view. What a vista, Tom.
Much like the ESPN Tallahassee Corner Pocket Bar and Grill Executive Suite.
Nicely done. My body weight shifted straight down as we exit. Yes, because you're not attached to anything, dude. It's gravity. You've got a problem on your hands. Straight down. And I found myself hanging on for dear life. Thankfully, he's alive. He came out of the incident mostly unscathed, the exception of a shattered wrist and bruised muscles. Because when he does let go, they're down. So the guy, the host, the dude who was supposed to know that you need to hook your man up to the harness, he realizes pretty quickly that his boy's going to die. This guy's going to die. It's probably bad for business. My man's going to die.
My business is screwed.
Yeah. So what's funny about this is the guy's hanging on with one arm to the hang glider, and the other arm is clutching the hang glider, the hang glider, the driver, the only one who's hooked to the harness. He's clutching his calf, and it looks painful. You got to wear that thing.
Oh, yeah. Could you ease up on the grip there? You're killing my calf, sir.
I thought about that for a second. I was watching, he's squeezing the bejesus out of this man's calf, and I could just picture, like, how terrible this is, that it had to have been a fleeting thought. He's like, God, dog, man, you're killing my
It'll
calf.
be okay.
You're just squeezing the bejesus out of my calf, man. Hey.
I get your hanging on for dear life. Literally.
Hey.
But,
hey, see if you can reach your other hand up here more towards the rail thing, man.
Come on,
my
man.
Cat, you're killing me.
You're cutting off my circulation.
It really hurts, sir. You got to watch this video. You just have to watch this video. So the guy who's steering the hang glider realizes, blank, this ain't good. I failed to hook Chris here to the harness. Good thing I got his money. So then they go, and he immediately tries to find a place for it, but you can't. I don't understand. I don't know anything about hang gliding, but apparently you can't just land it. There has to be.
I don't think it works that way.
No.
Yeah.
So you have to
probably come down too quickly at that.
Right.
But you're not gliding anymore.
No. So you have to find a way to. First of all, there has to be a field you can land in of some kind, right? Not rocky cliffs or anything. So he's like, "All right, I'll try to get you down." Guy squeezing the out of his calf, and then anyhow
we've just got to hang on to Bloverfield Pass.
So they find it, and he goes to land it, and this poor bastard who's been dangling 4,000 feet in the air by this dude's calf is just, he doesn't have much left in the tank. And when they go to land, he just lets go, and you see his feet flying. He shattered his wrist, and
that's lucky. That's it. So his muscles hurt because of the adrenaline and all the lactic acid. I'm sure.
He's in ungodly amount of pain, I imagine. He's literally holding on for dear life, literally. And this guy, I'm telling you, the first thing that would have happened is that I would have got up and beat that man to death. There is no chance that I am not harming this individual the second I, shake off the shattered wrist. There's no way.
I think there's too much fatigue in that moment. Though. Like, I'm going to kick your ass, and when I start, you're going to let me. But I can't right now.
So here's the deal. For 2 minutes and 14 seconds, Gursky had to hang on for his life. The landing, quote, I'm going to read his quote. Chris said, "The landing was a tough one, but I've lived to tell the story." Oh, this made my day. Go watch that video, but find the video, not of the camera that's on the hang glider, but that's on the wings. There's one from above, and when you see that, and that guy's dangling by one arm and clutching that bastard's poor calf.
Do you think 2 minutes and 14 seconds is long enough that they kind of mellow out for about 15, 20 seconds? Like, because it's just the adrenaline wears off, and you're like,
well, imagine
how you doing? Still here.
Check out the view. I know this is tough, but just really allow yourself to look around. Take it in. You don't get many of these. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Days are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
We're completing our descent and will arrive in TLH shortly.
Oh, I'm so happy to be home.
Once we land, you can take off again with savings from the City of Tallahassee.
What do you mean?
The City of Tallahassee offers rebates for up to $300 in savings when you purchase energy-efficient appliances.
Wow, that would be a huge help.
The city also offers free energy audits.
What's an energy audit?
It's when an energy auditor comes to your home at the time that's convenient for you, examines your structure, and checks your energy and water systems. Then they recommend changes that could save you energy, water, and money. The city also offers free ceiling insulation grants for qualifying customers.
Man, the city sure offers a lot of ways to save money. Once we land, I will check out all of the products and services the city has to offer. This makes me proud to call Tallahassee home.
Thank you for flying with us today. Don't forget that you can take off with savings with the City of Tallahassee. From rebates for Energy Star appliances to insulation grants. You can save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com for more information.
With football season in full swing, don't forget about fishing our local waterways after the games. Fish are still biting regardless of the score. Sea Quarters Marina, Carabel, Florida. Open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The marina has a ship store, which includes fuel, bait, tackle, ice, and all of your fishing supplies for the trip. Both diesel and non-ethanol fuel is available. Free Wi-Fi and pump out with boat slip rental. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Carabel, Florida, 697-8400. Visit them online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. We have all felt the impact of Hurricane Michael across the Florida Panhandle. Like Tallahassee was beat up and bruised, our neighbors from Apalachicola to Panama City, their lives will be changed forever. Hearts and prayers go out to all affected. And while there is devastation, there is hope, because Floridians are strong and we take care of our own. I have traveled with the Red Cross and have seen much of the devastation in person. The pouring in of help from volunteers that are neighbors and strangers alike is incredible and is what makes us all proud to be Americans. Also, if your vehicle was damaged by the storm, you automatically qualify for Nissan's factory employee pricing, which is up to $1,500 under invoice. In addition, you keep all rebates or 0% interest on most models. And Nissan Corporate has just announced no payments until 2019. It's Nissan's way of helping our neighbors, and Kraft Nissan will put an additional $1,000 on all trades. But my main message today is to do what you can do to continue helping, whether your time or your treasure. This is going to be a long process, but I promise you, Kraft Nissan will continue to help until the job is done.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Sharer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
This giving season, there's no better way to say happy holidays than with custom cards, calendars, and photo gifts from Vistaprint. And until December 2nd, you can get special Black Friday prices with 60% off all holiday cards and calendars at Vistaprint.com. Plus, save on other photo gifts. It's our best deal of the season. So get Black Friday prices with 60% off all holiday cards and calendars. Plus, save on other photo gifts at Vistaprint.com. Just enter promo code Radio60. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code Radio60.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Brickley. Championship weekend in college football, the final opportunity for the top four teams to solidify their spot for the college football playoff, and those on the outside looking in, Ohio State and Oklahoma, to make a late push. Committee Chair Robert Mullins on his expectations.
This is the 1 week where we all get together. We'll watch the games together. I head to Dallas tomorrow. The whole committee will assemble tomorrow afternoon. We'll start watching the champ games tomorrow night. We will watch these games. And we'll meet on Saturday night after the games, and we'll meet for, last year we met well into the morning on Sunday morning to our job, our charge is to get the four best teams. And that's exactly what we'll do. And that'll include a lot of conversation, a lot of debate, and it will include the results of the games on Friday and Saturday.
Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game, the Red River rematch between Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game. Tonight, though, it's the Pac-12 championship to be decided between Utah and Washington, with coverage on ESPN Radio at 7 Eastern Time. ESPN's Edward Aschoff reports that Houston's Ed Oliver will skip the team's bowl game to begin preparing for the NFL draft. Oliver is currently 6th on the Mel Kiper Jr. Big Board. NBA, the news continues to get worse for the 8-13 Wizards. The team is set to lose Dwight Howard for 2 to 3 months after surgery for a lower body injury, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, as Washington on the road tonight facing Philly. An ESPN doubleheader, 8 Eastern, Rockets and Spurs, followed by the Nuggets and the Blazers. According to multiple reports, the Mets and Mariners are closing in on a deal to send Robinson Cano to New York, along with closer Edwin Diaz. The 36-year-old Cano is an 8-time All-Star in the middle of a 10-year, $240 million contract.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
All right, we got to get in Benny here. We got one game for Benny to pick. We've got to get Benny situated in a better deal here. There is just one. It's Utah and Washington. I'll bring in Benny here in a second, but I don't think we've made him feel very welcome. The accommodations for Benny the Beaver since Oregon State pulled off the hell to the gnaw victory have not been good. I mean, he had to raft the thing from Oregon to Tallahassee. We haven't had a good seat for him.
No, he's complaining about his accommodations. He doesn't have anything to sleep on.
Let's welcome in Benny the Beaver. Let's get that selection for this game. It's a quickie here. Benny, are you on the line?
I'm right here. I'm under the table. Look down.
What?
Here I am.
Why are you under the table?
Nobody gave me a seat.
All right, well, just hold on. We'll get you a seat. Not for right now, but it's one game.
What they say every day.
Benny, there will
be. Punk friend Tom.
There'll be. You've never liked Tom. It's been a disaster. We'll get this ironed out.
He's an a-hole.
So, real quick, Benny, Utah catching 5.5 from Washington, but they're without their starting quarterback and without their running back.
Washington is in this game?
Washington is in this game.
Oh, my gosh.
Washington is in this game, and Washington is favored to win this game.
I was so blitzed before the Apple Cup. I forgot who won.
Washington won, again.
Because the Ducks, they took it to us. It wasn't pretty.
Yes, but Oregon wasn't in this game.
No, but I got blasted. That's why I couldn't do last week at the CP,
okay.
Jeff.
I got you.
I was too drunk.
Yeah. Well, Benny, I'm going to need you to be professional, but I'm going to need you to pick a game here. This one game is the only game
I've been on a bender.
I need you to take one game, and it's going to be Washington and Utah for the Pac-12 championship. By the way, do you have any association with Utah, Benny? I mean, that was a late arrival to the Pac-12. There's no reason for you
Beautiful rivers. Beautiful rivers in Utah. What, you want more from me? I'm hungover. I've been on a week bender. I got no bed. You guys haven't given me a bed. And I've been drinking since the Ducks beat us into the ground.
I need
again.
Washington or Utah, Benny?
Give me the Utes.
Plus the 5.5?
Sure.
That's a drunken pick.
Mm-hmm. Can I go back to drinking more beer now?
Bye, Benny. We'll get you righted.
Too many hippies around here.
Can't be more hippies than we're in Oregon. It was Oregon.
Have you been to the All Saints District? I'm glad y'all moved. If that's where your studio still was.
Bye, Benny.
Goodbye. God bless.
So starting next year and perhaps maybe in the Pac-12 tournament or basketball, something, we've got to get, because we have cameras here.
Get the hell out of my way, Tom.
We've got cameras here, and you guys got to see Benny. And that'll happen, but not until we get proper
accommodation. He just bit my shin. What the hell's wrong with this guy?
Benny's not a fan. He hates your ass. I don't know what that's about, but he hates you in a way that's uncomfortable. And he has since day one, and you've noticed it.
I never promised him a bed. Besides, the chair behind you, they can see it on the camera. That thing's comfy enough. He can climb up there.
Plenty of chairs. We've got any number. There are chairs in the other room.
The seat in the chair is wide enough for him to sleep in.
He could do.
It's ridiculous.
We got to get him back to situation. Something else is bothering him.
Get him a coffee.
Something is bothering him that I have never been able to figure out, but at some point we will. By the way, he's wrong on the pick, and I'm noticing a trend with Benny.
He threw up in the bathroom over the weekend. It was a mess.
I don't think he's really maybe this isn't his gig. I'm a little worried that this isn't what he hasn't made a correct prediction. Is that right?
No, when he did the Pac-12, he had a winning record that weekend.
Did he have a winning record?
Yeah, he was 3-2.
I got to catch him more slack. Now he's going to hate me. So
you won't like that, man. Benny is he's a character.
Well, he's raw. He's raw. But we had to replace Hell to the Gnaw. Benny the Beaver seemed as good as any. Oregon State won. Dude wanted out. It was a good job. We took him on. We'll see.
We do need to get him a bed, though. I mean, that's probably only fair.
A bed and a chair, and we'll have him talking to the camera next time around. So the next time we see Benny, you'll see Benny at home if you're watching on YouTube. You can watch him. He'll be right here.
Maybe he'll pick a bowl game, like the Rose Bowl. Shouldn't he pick the Rose Bowl?
He should. Somebody's got to represent the Pac-12, right? Washington, by the way, as an aside, all football talk here. And Lee Sterling's going to join us here in a few minutes. Get to pick the games. But Washington is the team that before the season we all thought would be in this playoff. And I have a question that I want to ask later in the show about what's going to happen here if a certain scenario plays out. But one of the reasons that it's even a question at all is that you don't have an option out of the Pac-12 for the college football playoff to speak of.
No, Washington State screwed up the whole thing. Yeah, you're right. Preseason-wise, Washington was the expectation, but then the Apple Cup, if it goes the way of Washington State, then they're the easy answer. In fact, now you have a really fun debate if they had won because you're talking about Oklahoma, Washington State, and obviously Ohio State as well. Yeah.
Well, it gets weird. And I think moving forward, listen, at the end of the day, they're going to talk about 8 teams eventually, and I guess some of this discussion won't matter. But I do think that we don't do a good enough job, and college football has been plagued by this forever. But, trying to factor in, because nobody plays the same schedule, so it's very difficult because you got an undefeated team like UCF that people want to champion, but we all know that schedule's a joke. But then also summarily dismissing them as having no chance to beat a team as flawed as, say, Oklahoma or Ohio State, who's given up a gazillion points as well this year, or any number of other teams, is probably also wrong. And then I would also note that, this is a weird year because, frankly, I don't think there are 4 good teams. So that's where that debate gets interesting because we can all say Alabama's one of the best 4 teams, and we can all say Clemson's one of the best 4 teams.
Yeah, the BCS would have been fine this year. Alabama, Clemson, and we're done.
I've been saying for a while I was fine with the BCS, period.
Yeah, I agree.
I was fine with that. I mean, they were constantly making adjustments to it, but, again, this system is not perfect. The previous system was not perfect. The BCS beat the hell out of the way they used to do it.
I'm okay with the +1 model, which is what they called this before it was called the college football playoff. But, it would have been fine by me if the BCS system, the way they had it, picked the 4.
Pick the 4, right.
But you know what? It's not good for TV because you don't have a guy that stands in front of the camera and explains something different every week. So now each fan base around the country can take turns being angry. That creates ratings. It's good for the sport. It's not good for integrity, but it's good for the sports ratings and the interest around the country.
Yeah, it's a problem, though, anytime something upsets and calls into question the integrity of the game. I mean, you don't want that. I get what you're saying, though. It's made for television, and they sure push it that way.
Well, it's just the natural thing of the inconsistencies because the spokesman can only speak for the committee, but he may not actually share the opinion of what the consensus was.
I always feel sorry for that guy they trot out there. MyPillow helps you sleep better, fall asleep faster, stop waking up in the middle of the night. It's all good. Get you a MyPillow. It comes with a 10-year warranty, and guess what? All those studies that say it helps you fall asleep faster, snore less, all that's true. You can take their word for that study, not mine. I'll tell you that I have one and I love it. Used to have a 60-day money-back guarantee, but now with your purchase, you have until March the 1st to return it. If you're not absolutely in love with it, go to MyPillow.com and get a buy one, get one. It's Christmas time. It's a good time to do this.
That's what we should get Benny, is a MyPillow.
Oh, Benny, you're in luck.
That's a great idea.
MyPillow.com, promo code 979ESPN. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the buy one, get one free special. Enter the promo code 979ESPN.
The Florida State basketball team has the best record in the nation at home the last 2 years.
Three-point shot, it's good again!
The Tucker Center is a house of horrors for opponents. Don't miss the best ticket in town, the ACC Pack. Come see the nation's best basketball right here in Tallahassee for as low as $99. The Noles host Duke, Notre Dame, Miami, Louisville, and more inside the Tucker Center. College basketball is taking the capital city by storm. Don't get left out. Purchase your ACC Pack today. Call 888-FSU-NOLE or visit Seminoles.com today.
Hey sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on and on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
The Rolling Stones. No Filter. U.S. Tour 2019. April 24th, TIAA Bank Field. The world's greatest rock and roll band. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com, Veterans Memorial Arena box office, or by phone. 1-800-745-3000. The Stones.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Shop Lowe's and save on a Craftsman 81-piece mechanics tool set, now just $89.98. The set includes drive tools, sockets, an extension, and a 122th ratchet with a 3-degree arc swing, making it easier to get into those hard-to-reach spaces. Plus, it's backed by a full lifetime warranty, so you can be sure the tool you need will be there when you need it. Get yours today at Lowe's, the new home of Craftsman. Valid through 12/5 while supplies last. See store for details. U.S. only.
If it's happening for kids of all ages, it's happening on eBay. Introducing Toytopia, the ultimate destination to find the hottest gifts. Get rare, retro, and right now toys. From drone racers to vintage Barbies to the rarest Magic the Gathering card in the world. Over 1 million toys ship fast and free. So head to ebay.com/Toytopia before the perfect gift disappears. Toytopia is happening now, and it's only happening on eBay.
Hey, it's Golick and Wingo, and we're giving you and a friend the ultimate college football experience at the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship Game.
We're taking care of airfare, hotel, tickets, donuts.
Are donuts really included?
Nah, but it sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
The Golick and Wingo College Football Playoff Contest. Earn your shot to attend the 2019 College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T. Tune in to Golick and Wingo from now through December 5th for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. For official contest rules, go to ESPNradio.com.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Brickley. Championship weekend in college football, the final opportunity for the top 4 teams to solidify their spot for the college football playoff, and those on the outside looking in, Ohio State and Oklahoma, to make a late push. Committee Chair Robert Mullins on his expectations.
This is the one week where we all get together. We'll watch the games together. I head to Dallas tomorrow. The whole committee will assemble tomorrow afternoon. We'll start watching the champ games tomorrow night. We will watch these games. And we'll meet on Saturday night after the games, and we'll meet for, last year we met well into the morning on Sunday morning to our job, our charge is to get the 4 best teams. And that's exactly what we'll do. And that'll include a lot of conversation, a lot of debate, and it will include the results of the games on Friday and Saturday.
Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game, the Red River rematch between Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game. Tonight, though, it's the Pac-12 championship to be decided between Utah and Washington, with coverage on ESPN Radio at 7 Eastern Time. ESPN's Edward Aschoff reports that Houston's Ed Oliver will skip the team's bowl game to begin preparing for the NFL Draft. Oliver is currently 6th on the Mel Kiper Jr. big board. NBA, the news continues to get worse for the 8-13 Wizards. The team is set to lose Dwight Howard for 2 to 3 months after surgery for a lower body injury, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, as Washington on the road tonight facing Philly. An ESPN doubleheader, 8 Eastern, Rockets and Spurs, followed by the Nuggets and the Blazers. According to multiple reports, the Mets and Mariners are closing in on a deal to send Robinson Cano to New York, along with closer Edwin Diaz. The 36-year-old Cano is an 8-time All-Star in the middle of a 10-year, $240 million contract.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, happy Libations Friday, everybody. Glad you're with us. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Remember, you can watch the show if you want on YouTube. If that's your thing, type in ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. You'll find us, Jeff Cameron Show. And if you miss anything, all 3 hours get posted upon the show's conclusion, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault and on the web, the app, I should say, WTSM. So lots of ways to catch up with the program. And soon we will bring in our good buddy Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, as we're wont to do on Fridays. We're down to the nitty-gritty of college football and getting deep into the season with the NFL, some critical games and matchups, including conference championships. So I think we should do it. Let's do it right now. Let's bring in Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, and get to the games. We had no show last week. How are you, sir?
Doing okay. Worked first time I've worked off the 3 pounds that I gained in a week. So it's tough to push back. And you know, when you're sitting there watching games, even the next day, and say, okay, I had. How about this? Both my daughters, they had like a bake-off. One makes a banana cream pie, and the other makes a blueberry pie.
Oh, beautiful!
Homemade. How do you like say okay after eating leftovers? I'm not going to keep eating either one of those or both of those pies.
Blueberry pie is so rare when you find one that's right. Oh, I love it. Good work. Good work from your kids. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, a rematch right out the gates. Let's get to it. It's Oklahoma given 7.5 against Texas, and Oklahoma really blew the first matchup, allowing Texas to come back there. Do they get their revenge?
I love their offense. I love Kyler Murray. 37 touchdown passes, 11 running the football. He's going to be fun. We're going to miss watching this kid. And, I mean, Marquise Brown, love him as a receiver. I think their offensive line is really good. But after that, I mean, their defense is trash. I mean, the last 4 games, their best effort, Jeff, they gave up 40 points to Kansas. Kansas, I mean, they can go sometimes 2 games without throwing the ball down the field 20 yards. They are a horrendous team and an awful offense. Oklahoma their defense doesn't want to engage. I know they felt they had to make a move and get rid of Stoops, but really
hasn't made any difference.
Ruffin McNeil,
and it hasn't made any difference. They're actually worse statistically speaking. Yeah,
they're worse.
Yeah.
So Texas has covered 6 straight in the rivalry. I like that Herman reached out to Beatty of Kansas and said, "What did you see when you went after you got fired? What were our weaknesses?" And hey, all's fair in love and war. And Texas is the only team in the Big 12 that plays a lick of defense, giving up 25 points per game. They won the first game, 48-45. They'll do it again. Wrong team's favored. Texas, 48-45.
Wow.
Yep.
Devastating result for Oklahoma fans. Yep. Ohio State is given 14. Now, it's interesting because Ohio State has looked terrible until they pasted Michigan's sorry ass, who is overrated, and Harbaugh has really done nothing there. Northwestern's getting 14. If you can find 14 in the hook, do it. But if you can't, would you give the 14?
You know, I wouldn't. And I know what they did. A lot of people are going to play Ohio State 2 theories. They'll play them because what they did against Wisconsin when they got that Big Ten championship game, they were facing supposedly the number one defense. They beat them 62-0. So they'll see that and they'll say, okay, Ohio State has to win big in this game to get possibly into the Final Four. So all that's nice, but the bottom line here is, I think Northwestern, you watch their team, they don't have a lot of guys that are going to be drafted in this draft in the first, second, or third round. And Ohio State might have 15 going the next 2 years, first, second, and third rounds. But the sum of all these parts is pretty darn good. And they play the best teams well. They played Notre Dame down to the wire. They lost to Michigan by 3. And they beat Iowa, Michigan State, and Purdue. They only get off like 2 plays per minute. They take their time. They don't miss many assignments on defense. You don't see blown coverages. And I don't know what Pat Fitzgerald does when they travel on the road. I don't know. There's got to be some secret, but they're 28-11 the last 39 games as a road dog. Ohio State wins 31-21, but Northwestern covers.
That's what I took as well. Clemson's given 27.5 in an unwatchable football game. This will be back-to-back years that Clemson just paced the representative of the Coastal. Did they beat him by more than 27.5?
Don't remind me. I was there last year.
I forgot about that. Sorry about that.
It wasn't pretty. It was over after 4 or 5 minutes into the game, and I think this one will too. I mean, Pittsburgh kind of had a dress rehearsal last week. They face a good Miami defense. Miami defense statistically number 2. What did they do? They only put up 200 total yards. I just think if Clemson had come into this game and they beat South Carolina by 40 or 50 points, I'm like, okay, they might make a game of it for a half or 3 quarters, but the Clemson defense, which gave up a rare 35 spot last week to South Carolina, I think they're going to be motivated. They only have 1 takeaway in the last 3 games. Trust me, those defensive meetings, those kids will be focused this week. And they put up at least 38 points in 3 straight ACC championship games. I like Clemson big here, 42-10.
Alabama's given 13 in the SEC championship game. Georgia is a very good football team with a very good offense. Can they keep this game close and be one of the rare teams to do that against Alabama?
Well, I think when you look at the final score last year, they only lost by 3 in overtime. But once that things changed, as soon as Tua came into the game, started the third quarter, and then that one series in overtime, they outscored Georgia 26-10. The one way you have a chance to, I don't know if you can beat Alabama, but slow them down is you got to, Tua's only thrown 2 interceptions, so you got to make them punt the football. So that's a big win every time they bring the punter onto the field. If you can make them punt 4 or 5 times, you got a shot, but Georgia just doesn't get pressure to the quarterback. I mean, they're number 101 out of 130 teams in team sacks, 118 out of 130 in tackles for loss, both dead last in the SEC. How about this? I went back in my database, and, Alabama's beaten every team by more than 20 points this year. Last time a team did that was 88. Do you know the team?
Florida State.
Nope, not 1988. It was 1888. It was the Yale Bulldogs. 1888. So it's 130 years. Georgia has revenge, not much else. Nick Saban, 15-0 versus his former assistants. Roll Tide, 45-21.
That hurts. Carolina has given 3.5 to the Buccaneers, who have some life. Winston's played well the last 6 quarters, certainly, and the Bucs are actually getting pressure on the quarterback. Carolina has begun to wane. Do they bounce back here against a bad Bucs defense that is improving slightly?
Slightly. Here's the thing. Carolina, I rarely play in-game wagering. I gave out Carolina to my clients last week. First play of the game, their best cornerback gets injured, and that's their weakest position. First time I've ever, after one series, went against my bet and went the other way.
You hedged. Good job,
sometimes you got to do it. Just felt it was the right situation. We don't know if Jackson's going to be able to play here for Carolina. He's a game-time decision, but I think they're telling Jameis, play within yourself, check down, and just make the simple pass, and that's not what you want to do against Carolina. You want to push the ball down the field against their cornerback. So if he pushes the ball down the field, I think he'll actually have success, but I think he wants to keep his job, and I think he wants to play and stay in Tampa next year. So I just think Carolina has too many weapons here. As long as their front seven gets some pressure on them, I like Carolina here, 35-21.
Indianapolis and Jacksonville, your game of the week. The train's off the tracks in Jacksonville, and Indianapolis is rolling. They'll give 4. How can folks get that game from you, buddy?
Well, if you want to find out if this is going to be an easy win for Indy, or is this a trap game, just be one of the first 5 callers. We'll give you this game for free. 800-400-9741. Again, the number to get this Indianapolis-Jacksonville game on me, 800-400-9741. And 3 weeks ago, we hit our 100-unit play, first ever in 27 years, Green Bay over Miami, 31-12. I've only had 15 50-unit plays in my 27 years. This will be my 16th. We're 13-2 on these games. I'm going to text you the game right now, Jeff.
Good.
I love this game in the NFL.
Wow.
That game a couple weeks ago when I had Green Bay, 9 check boxes on one side, 0 on the other. This is one I've got 8 on one side and none on the other. So we're going to let it fly. Great matchup. You want to get involved. This will probably be the last big game that I have of 50 units or above going forward. So you want to get it. You can purchase the game individually, just $97. You want to get championship weekend and the NFL from tonight. I have a play tonight all the way through Monday night, just $197. Or there's a lot of football left to be played. We have championship weekend, 4 weeks of the NFL, 41 bowl games, and the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Used to be $897 last week. I lowered it to $697. I'm in a great mood. They use coupon code SAVE200, just $497 for my phone service through the Super Bowl. It's all available, ParamountSports.com.
Always a pleasure, Lee. Enjoy the football, buddy. Be well.
Okay. See you, Jeff.
All right, take care. That's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. Indianapolis, Jacksonville. You know, the game scares me, Tom, because this feels like a no-brainer. You got one team going south in a hurry, and controversy surrounds it. They've got really nothing working for them currently. Fournette's suspended. They got nothing going for them right now. And the Colts are on fire, and Andrew Luck is playing like the Andrew Luck we remember.
Yeah.
It seems so easy, but it can't be. The league's the league, and that number's only 4 for a reason. And the second you think something is that easy, it's not in the league.
Well, if it doesn't hit, why won't it hit? Because Luck throws 4 picks.
Well, that would be the reason. And, is Jacksonville motivated?
I doubt that, but
that would be the reason.
But they're still good enough defensively if they get a couple of breaks early. They're front runners. Yeah. If it's 10-0 after the first quarter, Bortles is not playing, so maybe you shed a coach and a quarterback that nobody believes in. So maybe you believe a little bit for a week. You're at home.
It's interesting. Let's come back and review what he just had to say because I'm curious about something. I didn't realize a couple of those Georgia numbers. That's a little unsettling. I like Georgia elsewhere on the football field, but
but they're not going to be able to put you in 2nd and 12.
You can't win. That's a problem. That's going to be a big, big problem. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Tallahassee has always loved the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway for its delicious food, cold drinks, and Vegas wall of 8 50-inch flat-screen TVs. Now, the Corner Pocket gives you a new reason to start off every week at the CP, Monday Night Mania. Enjoy 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers of beer every Monday night from 7:30 till 11 p.m. That's right, 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers as you enjoy Monday night on the gridiron. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Monday Mania. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hi, I'm Alan Willis, the General Manager of 97.9 ESPN Radio here in Tallahassee. We have a rare sales position opening. If you have outside sales experience, a great positive attitude, if you're a team player, passionate about working, love sports, and most importantly, a self-starter with a proven record of success, then email me your cover letter and resume today at alanwillis@979espnradio.com. You'll be responsible for generating new business and growing some existing accounts for the only sports radio station in town through working face-to-face face-to-face with advertisers and business owners. The advertising business is fast-paced, exciting, and can be lucrative. Our employees are our most important resource. So if you think you have what it takes and are ready to join our winning team, please email me your cover letter and resume today to Alan Willis at 979ESPNradio.com. That's Alan, spelled A-L-L-E-N. 979 ESPN is locally owned and operated station and an equal opportunity employer. No phone calls, please.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
We're completing our descent and will arrive in TLH shortly.
Oh, I'm so happy to be home.
Once we land, you can take off again with savings from the City of Tallahassee.
What do you mean?
The City of Tallahassee offers rebates for up to $300 in savings when you purchase energy-efficient appliances.
Wow, that would be a huge help.
The city also offers free energy audits.
What's an energy audit?
It's when an energy auditor comes to your home at the time that's convenient for you, examines your structure, and checks your energy and water systems. Then, they recommend changes that could save you energy, water, and money. The city also offers free ceiling insulation grants for qualifying customers.
Man, the city sure offers a lot of ways to save money. Once we land, I will check out all of the products and services the city has to offer. This makes me proud to call Tallahassee home.
Thank you for flying with us today. Don't forget that you can take off with savings with the City of Tallahassee. From rebates for Energy Star appliances to insulation grants. You can save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com for more information.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Black Friday may be over, but at the Home Depot, we're just getting warmed up. Right now, get up to 2 free power tools, up to a $318 value when you buy a select power tool kit. Choose from trusted brands like Ryobi, Kita, Milwaukee, Rigid, and DeWalt. If you missed out on Black Friday, don't miss out on this. Get up to 2 free power tools with the purchase of a select power tool kit. Now, at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through January 23rd while supplies last. Limit 1 redemption per customer. See store for details.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Interesting from Lee Sterling there about Winston checking down more. This is the stuff that people beg him to do. He finally did it last week, and that, at least according to Lee, is a sign that he is, being more conservative and checking down because he's worried about his job status? Perhaps. But he hit Evans on the bomb last week when it was one-on-one. I mean, I think he just took what was there, which is what we've been begging him to do. He has played a very good 6 quarters since his return. His confidence is back. He's run when he's supposed to run. He's taken sacks, most importantly, when he's needed to take sacks. He's not turning the football over these last 2 games. Well, not with any regularity, anyhow. He had the fumble on the run when he first came back. He had the one that should have been picked.
Yes.
But other than that, he played flawlessly last week. This quote, by the way, if you're banking, so remove the fact that I obviously am a Buccaneers fan and an O, and thus am inclined to root for Jameis to do well and like him. I talked about his skill set when he was here, and again, removing any of the other baggage, any of the other stuff. I know it matters, but when we just talk about what he is, Tom, you know I believe he's an elite quarterback. I believe he has a chance to be an elite quarterback at the very least. There are moments where he plays that way. Then there are moments that he plays terribly. Both are true. And when he plays terribly, I'll say it. When he plays great, I'm going to be quick to say it too. You can bet on that. Here's the thing. And I hate the double standard in which he's judged, but I get why that exists, and some of that's on him, period. So I understand. But remember when we had the conversation about him coming off the suspension, I said, listen, all of the changes that you need to see in him as a human being, all the better decisions you're hoping to witness, all the times on and off the field that you need him to fly right, many of those things have taken place in the wake of that incident, right? And years have gone by since that incident. So what was fresh in the minds of so many because of the recency of the suspension was actually involving an event in which a lot of time had passed. I say a lot, it's relative. What I mean is this: the stopping of drinking, the weight loss, the having of the child, all that stuff is post that incident, which would be an indicator that live and learn, oh my God, I got to get it together, I'm about to throw this all away. I mean, that's one way to look at it. The other is to say the guy is inclined to make poor decisions because what? I don't know. But if you think that's the case, then you give up on him. If you don't, if you think he's got it right, the skill suggests you don't dare give up on him because look around the league, it is hard to find franchise quarterbacks. You got one. You got one. Now, this quote is something that, again, I think would be revealing of the more mature player and person that you're hoping to see in Tampa. Quote, now I have a reason to play this game, even harder, even better, because I have a son. I have someone that is depending on my every decision, on every pass that I make, on everything that I do. His life is dependent on what I do. So it's a privilege. It's a blessing to have this job. It's a job that I love and a job that God has blessed me with these talents. To go out there and compete every day at practice, every game, for my family and for my son. It's unreal, man. It's hard to describe. It's just different. You know you're playing for somebody else every Sunday. You know why you're coming in this building at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's for him. Now, that's a quote verbatim from him. That's pretty succinct. And for him to be asked a question and answer it that way is a good sign, I think. I think there's a lot of introspection that has occurred.
Well, I can tell you, having watched that press conference and heard that answer, that was laced with emotion. It took him a second to gather before he answered the question with those words. And you could assign whatever emotion you want or what reasoning behind his emotion, however you want to, based upon how you feel about Jameis.
That's exactly right.
But I'm inclined to agree with you that what he's telling you is that he was in a bit of a dark place himself. Again, if you're inclined to believe that he's guilty of the Uber incident, then you're going to look at it one way. But I'm here to tell you that I think he was just in a dark place, independent of anything that he did or did not do. Because one answer he gave later in that press conference was, you hear all these things you're supposed to be, and you're trying to be everything that people tell you you're supposed to be. But now I have my reason to play, and none of that matters. It is in his personality, in his DNA. Jimbo said it back in 2014 when he got in trouble. He finds fault because he tries to make others happy. He tries to do what he thinks other people want from him, rather than I need to do this for me. Aside from all the other crap, he's trying to entertain, he's trying to lead. He even said it in this press conference as well. I've learned over the years that some people need a rah-rah guy and some people need a serious person to pull them aside and talk to them. But there's multiple ways to lead. These are things that Jameis would never have said as a rookie.
No, it's exciting because if you're on the side of wanting that guy to be your franchise quarterback, more importantly, wanting him to make good decisions in his life and become a better guy and to be the guy, husband, father, whatever it might be that you need him to be, then you really want to hear this sort of reflection. You want to hear about these, the measured response and meaningful response to a question that, he could have gone another way with.
Jimbo said when he came out with his uniform on for the Clemson game, and remember the look that
it's the best.
To the stars.
It's still funny. Yeah.
Oh, my God. What are you doing here?
What are you doing, dude?
Right, because the equipment guy left the uniform there. Well, Jameis wanted to help his team prepare. He knew he couldn't play, but he wanted to come out and he wanted to help him practice. He goes, as crazy as that sounds.
He goes, yeah, Jimbo told me that's exactly right. He did want that. It was true.
He wanted to help everybody prep, and he thought putting on a uniform and going out there was just a step in the – so he's just so – he's ignorant to his surroundings a lot, and that's where you find fault. Beyond the obvious stuff that you could argue about, whether or not that makes him a good person or not, he doesn't have much self-awareness, but it appears
I think it's growing
after that period of darkness that he's copping to at the dais on Wednesday, that maybe he's finding some self-awareness through fatherhood.
It's all speculation on our part, and I can tell you as a father that happens. It most certainly does. It's a hell of a profound feeling to understand that exactly what he just described to be true is that your kid is looking to you for everything. They're going to mimic what they see. They're going to rely on you literally to survive when they're first born. I mean, all of that is, yes, it's very profound. So I'm glad that was his reaction for starters. That's a normal reaction. Should be. I'm glad that's there. I think, too, and it's all speculation on our part, we'll see. He could screw it up, and then we're done. I mean, suffice to say, everybody understands now, even his most ardent supporters, he screws up again, it's over. It's all done, and good riddance, and goodbye, we're done. If he doesn't, and knowing what we think about any number of things that have happened, I'll celebrate that too. I like to see the way that he's progressed as a human being and the decisions on a day-to-day basis. Maturity. The Uber incident, I'm inclined, Tom, because we go back to something we talked about when this all went down.
And it was settled this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was stunned at the paltry amount of money that was changing hands. I would have guessed it would have been in the millions. Was it $75,000? Anyhow, so what?
Wonder what that tells you one way or the other. You could look at that either way.
You really can. I don't know. And I'm careful not to judge on that. I don't know what that means. It's interesting to me.
But it's fair. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. People say, "Well, she's just getting it for the money." Well, is she for $75,000?
$75,000? Yeah. Then again,
you could look at it and say,
take the other
somebody's
side.
just trying to make a quick buck because they're desperate.
Or you could. Well, I don't want to go down that road. Anyhow, we could go. Lots of ways to look at it.
But that's a human conversation that people have away from radio. I'm not pointing. I'm not saying I agree with one or the other, but you could argue either way.
You could argue that if somebody had been aggrieved to the degree to which it was described, that you certainly wouldn't settle for $75,000. That's another argument, right? You could also argue that
you could also say that I'm not in it for the money. I want the story out there to protect other people.
Right.
And give me the costs because
this is good therapy.
This is actually legitimately going to cost me about, $50,000, $70,000.
You could argue it that way too. You're right. So either way, what I'm more interested in is the change in him and what he's going to be if the Bucs are going to invest. But I do think that the Uber incident was the turning point that led to the darkness you're talking about. Him recognizing, I got to be better. I got to do better. What she said, what he said, I don't know what's true, but something happened out there that wasn't a good decision. That we can agree on. Whether he was vulgar in the car, whether he physically touched her, I don't know. Whether he yelled out of the car window because he was drunk and passed her by, which was alleged too. Well, that sounds like something that's plausible, certainly. That would be a terrible look for a franchise quarterback. It's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to see it. So no matter whatever the degree to which you think he was at fault there, one thing seems to be pretty clear. He was out in Arizona drunk. Whether he was with 4 people in a car, 2 people in a car, yelling things, touching people, whatever he was doing something dumb, regardless. And I think he came to the realization, I can't drink. I think that's almost certainly guaranteed. You look at his body change from then. You look at the way that he's been since then. You look at the changes across the board in him. I think he woke up maybe the day after, maybe a week after, and went, I got to do something. I've got problems here. This is not going to get.
Yeah, but it sounds like the realization. Maybe he was in a period of questioning himself for longer than that, because it sounds like this awakening is recent. I mean, it might be.
Well, they just had a kid.
It
so
might
maybe
be at the birth of this child.
Well,
I'm not saying that his behavior didn't already start to change, but you have to admit that his last few media availabilities have a completely different tenor. Like, even when he came back from the suspension, he was the same Jameis.
Let's not forget. You're right. Let's not forget that he has changed management. He has changed agents. He has changed a lot. And I'm quite certain that being hurt, having the shoulder injury, getting benched, that'll lend some perspective. I mean, he lost his job.
And he was right to lose his job. They were right.
Yeah. He lost his job, and he was right to lose his job. He had been hurt. He was playing through injury. He's at odds with the head coach, or at least was. I don't know what their relationship is now. Can't imagine it's great, but there you go. You have that. You change your agency. You change everything about what you're doing off the field. You have a child. You were suspended. There's a lot that's gone on post-Uber incident just in his life in general. And I would like to believe all of those things are going to add up to positive changes and better decisions. It appears to be the case. Now, we'll see how the rest of this year goes. That's that situation in Tampa. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be 6-6 right now, and or 5-6 right now.
Cincinnati loss is just terrible.
I mean, you got a couple of things there where you go, good Lord, guys. But he may get his wish. I don't know that he wouldn't say this publicly, certainly, but it may be that they get a new coaching staff in there next year. What he really needs is new ownership.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
I know. That's the heartbreaking
element. They can empower
a
buffer.
Yeah, we need
But the ownership backed him, though. This is one place where I would say that while they make dumb personnel decisions, to this point, they've backed him at every turn. And I don't know that every organization would have.
That's fair. That's certainly fair. And I think they're going to here's
doesn't make the defense better, but
here's the more important thing I will say is that if he continues to play well, it'll be a lot easier to continue to back him because you're in a good situation now. When he plays well, he plays real well. I mean, that's the thing with him, right? When he plays well, he plays top 7 well.
Well, and even for all the talk that Lee Sterling had about taking fewer chances, I think it's the risk versus the actual physical yardage down the field, because if you look at his air yards per attempt last week, it's 9.26. That's aggressive. That's aggressive.
That's who he is. He's not going to be a check down Charlie. He's not going to do the things that I rip Alex Smith and Marcus Mariota for, and others. There are many others who do it as well, but they're the ones who come up the most. I mean, he's going to be aggressive because he's got the arm and the football acumen to be that way. It's why we don't want to give up. But it's also something he's trusted too much, the way Brett Favre did. Where it leads to interceptions, and just you got to know when and when not.
Yeah,
you cannot force it here. 2nd and goal from the 8 in a 3-point game. You cannot do that. So understand risk reward like you're talking about, and then go from there. And last week it was flawless.
Yeah, in his last 2 games, which is a partial game against the Giants, he is 41 of 54 for 511, 4 touchdowns and a pick.
Yeah, I'll take that all day.
Even if it's 4 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Do that every 2 games. And then countless times he's scrambled for first downs and bought time. No, man, that's what you do here. I mean, I was talking about this the other day about his running. If you're going, if that running's in lieu of forcing an interception because, you're trying to throw the ball at all times. No, man, take the yards. Go. You're a good enough athlete to get 6 yards and slide. Just don't get hit.
And slide.
Yeah, slide or dive forward. You can dive forward. Just don't get hit. Whatever you do, get down before you get hit.
As he likes to lower the shoulder.
He's a tough guy. He's a big quarterback.
3rd and 7 in the 4th quarter, you got it. But
second
and
quarter,
10.
Yeah. No, listen, we laud certain quarterbacks for that. So I just know, again.
Well, like Dak last night.
Time
the one
and
that he got, in that long drive, that's a must. You got to have that. Some missed tackles, but you got to have the will to power forward.
Right.
If you're half stepping there, you're going to get hit and hit big.
Well, there's nobody that would argue that he doesn't desperately want to win. So he'll, I'm talking about Jameis.
It gets in the way, though.
Well, it used to.
Because he tries too
hard. Think of the past, Tom. Think of the past. This new guy here we're talking about, he gets it. He's going to play great this weekend.
He's discovered weed.
Our defense, I hope. Our defense is not going to play great this weekend. He'll play well. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we're having a different conversation on Monday. I hope not.
Don't want to see that lost look in his eyes.
That was really weird. We've seen it twice this year. It led to a benching, rightfully.
He made one bad throw that I saw in red zone because the game wasn't on locally last week. And after the throw, they cut to him like, good, because I want to see what's going on behind the visor now that he's wearing the visor. He was pissed. Thank God.
Yeah, it
because
wasn't like
the other one. It was
the other one was where did that guy come from? Yeah, not that at all. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You nervous about the soccer, baby?
No, but I will be by the time it kicks off.
I know. Isn't that cool?
Well, there's an element to this that makes you more nervous, too, and it's the clock counts down to 0. You know, I'm
Isn't
so
that funny?
used to,
Yeah, I'm used to it the other way, too.
Well, but, I mean, you get to the 45th, and then you're like, it's going to be at least a minute, maybe 2 or 3 of stoppage time. So you never feel like that's the end of the game, whereas this has a real element to it. It's like, it's done. You are out of time.
It's really, really cool to read those stories. Tim Winnefeld did a good story today on Seminoles.com about Castellanos. And just, you know, the star that she is. But in addition, you know, I keep thinking about, look, you're meeting the number 1 team in the semifinals. And the reason that's a big deal to me, Tom, is that according to those in the know, I'm not going to sit here and profess to know that Stanford is this or that. I haven't watched Stanford's women's soccer team play a single minute. But according to the people who have, that's a really, 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 as one might suspect, given the ranking, good team. Well, why do I bring that up? Well, there's only 4 of us left. If you can win that game and you knock out the number 1 seed,
you got a real crack at this thing.
Yeah,
North Carolina looms on the other side, but we took care of them in Cary, North Carolina.
Well, I was going to say there's a known thing, right? Or it could be Georgetown, right? But I mean,
Georgetown, yeah. But I'm just looking at the names and the power and, you know, the presence. And we took care of North Carolina for the ACC title.
Right. So you have a known commodity that you've already beaten, laying in wait, perhaps, if you can get by the defending national champions. And that's the other part of it. Stanford's your defending national champions, so you know they're good.
Boston, 46 matches? Something stupid like
ridiculous. I think it's 45 unbeaten streak, yeah.
Well, it stops at 45 then. That wasn't clairvoyance on my part.
I like it. Yeah, well, if you're just looking at the statistics, and I looked them up this morning because I don't know. But they rank 3rd nationally in both goals per game and goals allowed per game. That's a pretty good way to win games. You don't give up a lot of goals, and you happen to score almost more than anybody in the country. That's a hell of a formula.
It's also fun to watch a game like this when you're completely ignorant. You know, it's just blind fun to watch this. You know, I'm not going to pretend like you're talking about, but I'm not going to pretend that I watched 10, 15 matches of Florida State's this year. I watched the tail end of last week's bid for the College Cup
early in the season.
You did. Yeah. You talked about that to no end.
Yeah,
I remember
that game from start to finish.
Really?
Yeah, I watch this. Krikorian, I admire the coach.
Oh, there's no lack of admiration. I'm not even trying to take a shot here. It's just I don't. That's not what I prioritize.
Believe me, it's not. I don't do it either. But I do love the product. I'm a fan of soccer. People don't realize that. I say it every time I bring it up. I'm a fan. I grew up playing the game. I had 2 brothers that played in college. I played for over a decade. Love the game. Don't spend a lot of time on the show for obvious reasons. And, you know, that bothers some people. Very small percentage, which hence the reason I don't spend a lot of time on it. But I like the game. Love the game. Professionally, men, women, doesn't matter. I like it. It's my school. I want to see them win. They have won a national championship. Krikorian is great. When we've had him on the show, he's been great. And we have. And I love the way we play. That's another thing. We're fun to watch. You know, I always bring this up about basketball, but the way we play the game, I enjoy. So, listen, we're hanging our hat on a lot of things right now that don't have to do with football, but it should be acknowledged regardless. I mean, the women's volleyball team that nearly won the championship, the sand volleyball. Of course, obviously, softball did. We talked all about that. How cool. That was new to us. We weren't watching
that.
Softball
Was a great discovery process,
though. It was awesome, right?
Yeah.
You're
going to keep tabs on them this year.
You're damn right. And this is a known commodity, right? I mean, this is the consistency of this program is nearly second to none. And that's something that's just, it's cool. It's unique. It's a badge of honor. You feel proud of that. You're happy about that. And we've had some really, I mean, we're talking about internationally great players on the team. So it's not just that, hey, this is a really good college team. These are girls that are international superstars in some cases. Castellanos, for example.
Yeah, it's interesting how Krikorian was able to create these pipelines in Tallahassee, Florida. I mean, they got to go somewhere, but it's interesting how you can take a program that may have had a little bit of history, but fortify it to the point where you can talk to coaches around the world and they say, go to Tallahassee, Florida. I'm not trying to, belittle this town, but when you're talking about getting people from Europe and South America, and here they come to little old college town, the capital city of Florida, it's pretty cool to think about how we blend some of the best in this country with some of the best in the world, and they're all on their way to playing for their international clubs, a lot of them anyway, at different points of the year where we allow them to do so. And I think that's probably a big reason they come here.
I think another exciting aspect of the game and the opportunity here is that if you've watched us as of late, and a lot of people, myself included, obviously you come to it a little late, you have a chance to kind of divert attention away from one thing and onto another, then what you've seen is them play exceptionally well. The run through the ACC tournament saw win over Duke, over Virginia, and as you just alluded to, number 3 North Carolina at the time. So you beat really good competition on your way to an ACC tournament title. And then you beat a South Florida team that was ranked number 20. You beat number 6 ranked Southern Cal and number 14th ranked Penn State. So you've beaten nothing but ranked teams in 5 consecutive matches, and you've been really, really good in those games. And some of them have been gut-wrenching. And
the Penn State one
drama-filled and the whole deal. So they're in good form at the right time. And so it tends to ratchet up expectation and belief that a championship, a national championship, another national championship is possible, right?
It does, and hopefully we can play the Neil Diamond on Monday because we would be in the position to do that. This is the last time we get to talk before they win or they lose tonight, but if they obviously win, then we're playing on Sunday, and then maybe Monday we could have a little celebration about it. I wish to some degree, and you're right, it's just the ratings don't allow for it. I wish we could spread the love a little bit more and cover the teams a little bit more and be able to see the games a little bit more. Because championships they're hard to come by, and they're just a lot of fun to cover no matter what the sport is. Because as you get older too, maybe it's because I'm in my 30s now, but you can see the same traits across sports in greatness. In terms of dedication, determination, when things are down, how you face adversity, all these things, those are universal deals. That's why Jimbo was a cool coach to talk to off the record, because he could relate football to all these other sports that he had encyclopedic knowledge about. It wasn't just about football in the different decades, but he talked baseball and basketball. He talked soccer. Sometimes he'd even talk hockey, and he'd relate all of these other stories to help apply to the situation they're facing currently.
Which was why it was so perplexing that with that grasp of greatness in history and knowledge of the game, he was at a loss as to the buttons to push to sustain. And you knew it, and it was revealed in his shift in talking points. This is more interesting the further removed we get from that era and the less divisive it is, the topic. Meaning that right now when we bring up Jimbo, it tends to be in a tone that is angrily tinged, right? I mean, there is not a feeling of kindness there when we bring up the man's name. There were lots of things in the ride and the build towards that national championship that were great that we remember with fondness. And as time goes by and the tensions ease, I think there are things we will appreciate. Those conversations I enjoyed, the ones you're talking about, and I used to think it was going to be the thing that allowed him to figure out how to remain. Everybody's trying to figure out why Nick Saban or Coach Krzyzewski at Duke, or you name sustained greatness wherever the sport is, New England, why and how they're able to do that, because it is human nature to reach the top of the mountain and have a letdown, to train maniacally to reach a goal, but upon reaching that goal, taking a deep breath and exhaling and relaxing. It's a natural thing to have happen. When it doesn't, you want to know, how did the person either have the resolve in themselves or the aptitude to get it out of everybody else, even though it's, again, human nature to do the opposite. And he couldn't. And he worked for Nick.
Yeah. Well, he even said in his preseason press conference before there was a change in attitude that he read every book he could find.
On
Phil
Championship
Jackson's
on
book,
Greatness, Phil Jackson's book, right.
That was the one he pointed to the most, but he was just looking for nuggets of wisdom. He was trying to find it. He didn't know.
No,
he was admitting on the eve of fall camp, I don't know how to do this.
Attitude of domination turned into smell the roses. We talked about that. It was remarkable to watch, and it was the beginning of the end, and we didn't know to what extent that end was going to, be rapidly approaching. But, I mean...
Well, this coach has it. Maybe he should have gone and found Krikorian. I mean, he hadn't won... had he won the title yet in 2014? I don't think so. But, college cups, we go to him every single year, and that's really hard to do. But yet, that's the expectation here, and we continue to live up to it. And it seems like this is a coach in our own soccer program who understands how to continue to get people to buy into the message.
This is a fascinating topic, and I would like to have that conversation with him, and maybe we will after they beat Stanford before the championship game. But, Tom, I wonder, because it is true in women's basketball that the reason it happens there so frequently is there isn't a high level of competition. There are 5 or 6 good teams, and that's it. You got to beat them, and that's all there is. So the level of competition and the extent to which there are elite teams matter. I don't know enough about women's soccer to go down that road.
I know a little bit about North Carolina's dominance as a program,
right.
And it was absurd. It was, the level of UCLA basketball. It was the level of UConn women's basketball.
So it's growing, the level of competition.
But I mean, we've unseated them, or at least we're eye to eye with them as a program
without
right
question.
now.
Yeah,
we don't have the championships, plural. That
haven't
they
been doing
do.
it long enough, right?
But I mean, here's Stanford this week. Penn State is a recent national championship. I believe there's another West Coast. It might be USC. Somebody else won the title.
UCLA was really, really good at one point.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's like college basketball where you could have a winner come from any number of conferences, but I don't think it's women's college basketball either. And yet here we are making the Final Four.
No. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I want to be very careful there. I just don't know to what extent there's balance of competition. And that's but listen, he took a program that was nowhere on the map and made it on the map and has sustained it year in and year out. There's no doubt he has a grasp on greatness and maybe moreover the ability to recruit. I mean, he can really do that. And he's fun to talk to about that. So I wish the Florida State soccer team well, and we'll be watching tonight, and I'm a little on edge. So we get
when they kick it off, though?
7:30 tonight.
Yeah,
7:30. I'll be ready to go. I'll be ready. Championship. Hey, I know tonight's not to win the national championship, but you feel like if you beat the 1 seed, you got a real good chance.
Well, and usually, if you're going to play 2 games in a bunch, you want to. You're not going to Jekyll and Hyde this thing, I don't think. If you play well tonight, you're going to play well on Sunday, and if you get the chance to, that is.
Woo-hoo. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. A glorious Libations Friday to you and yours. Loosey-goosey edition of the program. I'm Jeff. He's Tom. Matthew is directing on the TV there, the YouTube. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but hey, we're all very, very busy. So if that happens and you do miss something, you can go back, get caught up at your leisure, as all 3 hours will be posted upon the conclusion of the show, both through iTunes and in our own audio vault, and on the WTSM app, which is free for all mobile devices. So go ahead and download that sucker now. That also helps you if you ever have Tropos, things like that. You can. I haven't checked the Tropos lately. Are we all right there?
At the moment, yeah, things are okay.
Never really know, man. It's
like a weather forecast, so you never really do know.
That's true. All right, so it is. The weekend of games begins, and I am interested in something of a scenario, Tom, that I really want to see, oddly, although it would affect a team I like. But I would like to know what the committee would do in the imperfect system. By the way, that is in perpetuity with college football. The imperfect system that has been around since I've been watching college football, since college football existed. They've never gotten it right. They've never been able to get it right. I understand the nature of that to some extent. I don't know really what they're going to be able to do with that. But the question that has been posed this week that I was kicking around this morning after reading an article was, so say Georgia goes out and gets beat by Alabama, and they will probably, we think, in all likelihood. And I feel even more certain of that now that those numbers, at least early, gave us in the 4 o'clock hour. I was
not making many plays in the defensive backfield.
No, not getting to the quarterback.
Up the field, yeah.
But that's the problem is not getting to the quarterback. Tua is allowed to sit around and throw because he's really accurate and really good at what he does. That's a nightmare. You can pressure him. And I'm going to guess now they're going to have to bring all kinds of different looks and pressures. Because if you sit back and try to play straight up against Alabama, he just beats you. And that is the biggest difference of what Alabama is this year, or this incarnation of Alabama, and what they were in every year previous. Even when they were great, winning national championships, that wasn't the thing that hurt you. The quarterback with time going through his first, second, third read, throwing the ball accurately time and again with guys on the move. Nope. That wasn't the case. Now it is. So I think you're just better off sit in the house. Just go get after him.
Well, moreover, too, this is not an Alabama offense that Kirby Smart was there for, right? So that's the thing. You got new coordinators in there and a quarterback skill set that they can do things a little bit differently. So let's just say that Kirby was there last year and then he took the Georgia job this season. You may have a beat on it, but really he's just like any other coordinator. Even though he has the Saban tie, he doesn't have any extra insight on how to stop Alabama.
And good's good, right? If a player's really good, I mean, that's your problem. A lot of people knew that Michael Jordan liked to go certain ways. You know, like a guy goes to his right a lot. LeBron goes to his right a lot. Oh, well, good. Stop him. You know, I mean, you can know things and it may not matter. And Alabama feels a little bit like that this year with Tua. He's just good. So let's just say that plays out. All right. So Alabama beats Georgia up soundly. And then Ohio State loses to Northwestern, and Oklahoma loses to Texas. That's not a crazy scenario at all. Ohio State has given us data point after data point after data point of I don't know what they are. When they decide to be good, they're good, but they're often bad. They're often just bad. So I don't know. Maybe they just felt like getting up for the Michigan game because it's Michigan, and they wanted to say, nay, not going to happen. We still hate you. We'll show up for this one in a way that we didn't show up for the Maryland game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and Northwestern's incredibly well coached, and they shorten games, and they'll run the ball, and they'll do all those things to limit possessions, and who knows? Let's say that upset happens. And then Oklahoma, who did lose to Texas once already, let's say they go out, and that terrible defense cost them again, which it most certainly could. Who the hell is getting into the playoffs?
Well, that's a great question. I think it depends on style points of the way you lost a football game. I think that comes into play.
That's why I brought up if they beat them soundly. Alabama, Georgia.
Okay.
No. If Oklahoma loses again, that's 2 losses. Screw you, you're done.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if Oklahoma loses and Ohio State loses and they both lose in close games, I mean, one of those two is going. I think you're picking between one of those two teams. You can't put UCF in because you'd have to take the injuries into account. Even if you wanted to, and let's say they romp Memphis, just for the argument's sake, it's not their starting quarterback. You can't do that. You can't put them in.
Well, then why would you put a 2-loss team in? I mean, what's the point of the season? I mean, at some point.
That's the point of the Power 5 season versus the Group of 5.
Yeah, man, I think that, listen, at some point losses have to matter. It's not like Ohio State's looked good against bad teams. They've lost. They've looked terrible. They've won games against bad teams in very, very slim margins.
Yeah, I think what sucks for Texas here is if they were 10-2 and they won it, they might be the one that snakes into that scenario, but they're 9-3, so they can't.
They can't. No.
Washington is 9-3, so let's say they win tonight and they won convincingly. They can't.
You
couldn't jump them.
You can't do that. No. And you can't put Michigan in.
Probably not, even though they sit ahead of UCF. Yeah.
I mean, that's a nightmare scenario. I mean, it really. What would happen? I don't know the answer to that question. There's no real good answer is the problem, right? There's no.
If Milton was healthy, if Mackenzie Milton was healthy and they beat Memphis soundly, there's your answer. But he's not, so you can't. Or let's just say it's better this way, because if you want to create the doomsday chaos scenario. It's a 31-30 win for UCF.
Oh, yeah.
They score a defensive touchdown.
Right.
You know, and it's Memphis that they're playing. You can't. It's just they earn their ranking because their quarterback play is so good. I mean, you're really going to put an unproven backup in there and allow them to go to the playoff?
But he would have proven himself over the course of a game and a half.
It's Memphis.
Well, I get it, but they would still have 0 losses in 2 years, and you're going to give me some slappy that's got 2 losses and has played poorly. Either way.
But who would have a better crack at Alabama if the doomsday scenario happened? Would it be Oklahoma or UCF? It would be Oklahoma all day long.
Yeah, but that's not what we're doing here. I mean, why even have a season?
Because, their job, they are tasked with putting the 4 best teams in there, so they have the latitude to make a move like this.
I think the only answer would be Oklahoma, and it still wouldn't sit right with anybody. Because Oklahoma will have lost to one team twice and nobody else.
Let's say, let's apply it to the NFL and say that the selection committee existed in the NFL and they could choose the 6 teams from each side that went to the playoffs. Okay. In this scenario, now I'm creating a huge hypothetical here for the 6th wild card spot. Let's say that you had a team like the Washington Redskins who finish 8-8 or 9-7, and it's just one of those years that you can get in at 9-7.
Yeah,
for
it happens
example.
sometimes. Yeah, wild card.
And their quarterback goes down, Alex Smith. And then you have a team like Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers missed the first 2 months of the season, but then they win 5 of 6 to finish the year. They're 7-9. Right. The College Football Playoff Committee, if it existed in the NFL,
they're allowed to put Green Bay in.
They would be able to put Green Bay in.
Yeah.
That's the latitude they have to select the 4 best teams.
I absolutely get that they do, but, man, coming up with that 4th team in this scenario by which Georgia gets blown out and then obviously you have Oklahoma lose again, so they're not a conference champion. They have 2 losses now. Ohio State, they're not a conference champion. They lose again after looking really poor prior to the Michigan game. Man, whew. I don't envy that scenario, but I'd love to see it.
I don't envy that scenario either, but you couldn't get mad at them. How can you get mad at them for whatever they choose?
Technically speaking, I'm pretty sure you can't get mad at them no matter what they say. They could take a team that's ranked 15th in the country right now and say, well, we just think they're one of the best 4. Oh, okay. But that's not true. They've got 4 losses. Well, we think differently. We like them. We're putting them in at 4. We're tasked with finding the best 4. This committee thinks they're one of the best 4. We're putting them in. That's the problem with the whole college football thing.
Well, I hear you, but I mean, applying it to this example where UCF is what we think is in the Power 5. Where would they be if they played in this conference in the ACC? They'd be good enough to win the Coastal, right? So they'd be good enough to play Clemson in the ACC
easily good enough to win the
Coastal.
If you're good enough to win the Coastal, man,
that puts you at what? 10-2, 9-3, 10-2. You think there would be that type of team if they played an ACC schedule? Let's not even put them in the SEC. That's what everybody loves to do. Let's throw them. The ACC is a middling conference in Power 5 right now. So, I mean, really, you've got to water down what they're doing. I get that they're undefeated, but let's not pretend that schedule is equivalent to the week-to-week schedule that we see from these other teams who are going to have 2 losses in the doomsday scenario.
It is not, and I'm the guy that sits around talking about how tired I am of UCF, but the weird scenario we're talking about now would see Ohio State with 2 losses, you'd see Oklahoma with 2 losses, and really no real deserving team. There's nobody that you would feel like they can say definitively are the 4th best team. Oklahoma's defense is a train wreck, and they would give up a gazillion points to UCF. They would.
With Milton out? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. They can't stop anybody in that conference. Anybody. They don't stop the sorry teams in that conference. No, they would give up a ton of points. They would. And so, because they do. That's just who they are. I mean, and believe me, I wish they were better because I would love to see Oklahoma make a stop on occasion. They drive me nuts.
So they'd beat UCF 80-40.
No, they'd
because UCF gives up points at a clip that's commensurate to Oklahoma, and
UCF
they're not facing Oklahoma's offense ever.
No, UCF has outscored opponents 474 to 214. They give up a lot of points, but I mean, hell, Temple in that conference gives up more points than they do. South Florida gives up way more points than they do. You can go through that conference. There are a lot of teams that give up way more points than they do.
All right, so they beat Memphis 31-30 earlier this year. They gave up 40 to Temple. FAU dropped 36 on them.
They give up a lot of points.
They have some drastic victories where they don't give up a lot of points.
Right.
I'll give you that, but if you look at the teams they're playing in those games, I mean, one of them is East Carolina.
Oh,
SMU.
sure. Yeah, their conference is their conference. You're right.
Right. Their biggest claim right now is that they trounced Pitt, who's playing in the ACC championship game. That's their claim. Problem is the quarterback's not available anymore. Who was in that game?
Oklahoma gave up 338 points this year. I get it. Oklahoma is much more skilled and a better football team than UCF. But if at the end of the year, that defense, being what it is, and they have 2 losses, and they're not conference champions, you can see why people would say you got to give UCF the shot. Now, I agree with you. If on a neutral field, those 2 teams play, I'm taking Oklahoma. I do know that UCF would score a lot of points. I don't know. Let's be.
If Milton's in there, I'm with you 100%.
Army took Oklahoma to overtime.
Yeah.
Army.
All right. I mean, you could play that game with most any team in terms of weird results in a given week. But Oklahoma,
they gave
if
up
you're
40
talking about styles make fights, right? And Alabama's obviously the 1 seed.
Okay.
And you're talking about the 4 seed. Who has a better percentage chance of beating Alabama?
Would have a tougher game against Oklahoma. It's just that Oklahoma gave up 56 to West Virginia, 40 to Kansas, 47 to Oklahoma State, 46 to Texas Tech, who finished with a losing record and scored 6 points in their final game. I mean, I'm telling you, it's that defense is that kind of bad. And they're playing that kind of bad right now. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They've gotten worse as the year has gone along, and that's saying something.
Yeah, it was a bad firing, actually.
I mean, it turned out to be, right? I mean, you mix in the fact that, again, they had an overtime. They gave up 48 to Texas in a loss. They had the overtime win against the Army. They're not.
I don't. You're going to give it to UCF without Milton in, if this doomsday scenario happens.
I merely asked the question, what would they do?
But it sounds like you're in favor because every time I prod it, you're pushing for UCF in this scenario. You say they have to be in there if they won out, if they won tomorrow.
I just think that at some point we have to acknowledge that losses matter. You can't have, listen, there are 5 lost teams right now that I believe are better than UCF if we're doing that. But I'm also counting the games that were played and the wins that are amassed. I mean, the losses count too. If you're capable of going to overtime with Army and you're capable of giving up, what's that number I just threw out there that was crazy? 46 to Texas Tech, 47 to Oklahoma State, Kansas drops 40.
Yeah.
Well, then you're capable of losing to UCF. You're damn sure capable of losing to UCF. So I don't think it's as cut and dry with Oklahoma.
I guess, but okay, with UCF, even with Milton in
I
there,
don't love UCF, believe me.
What's their biggest win? I guess it's Pitt, 45-14. That's the most impressive win.
Well, they blew Pitt's ass out when they got a chance against the Power 5 team. Now, I grant you, Pitt's not great.
Then
but
after that, it's Cincinnati.
But think about that. They played Pitt, who wins the Coastal.
Yeah.
And they beat their ass 45-14. Last year they beat Auburn. I know that the motivations were different.
Not even close. Yeah.
Agreed. But at some point, I mean, I know we're not supposed to look at last year, but when they get their chances in those moments, they've made the most of it.
They do, but that's
now I know they got to find a way to get out of that conference. They got to find a way to join a Power 5.
Sure.
They got to do all that.
Tell me about their attrition if they play a real schedule.
Completely agreed. But I don't think that the reason the scenario is intriguing is because we don't have 4 good college football teams.
Right. So, we can agree on that. Like, whoever they select, I'd be pissed if they selected UCF, though, because we bend over backwards for this program that plays.
Oh, and I make fun of them all the time. And I'm sick of their story. And I'm sick of their fans that really believe that if they were in a real conference, they would be undefeated. That's crazy. They're delusional. We're on the same page with that. I'm also capable, in this case scenario, saying, man, I'm watching Purdue just score any number they want on Ohio State. I'm watching Maryland drop 50 whatever on Ohio State. Maryland's not any good. I'm watching all these teams that do that to these 2 teams in the example. Now, if you're going by recruiting rankings and talent for talent, we both know who's more talented. but they don't play that way.
Yeah.
And so I can see where you would say, if you were just a casual fan and didn't have a rooting interest, you might say, well, give it to UCF in a year where nobody's great.
Yeah, right. If they had Milton, I agree with you.
I mean,
I'd actually push stronger for them to be in the top 4 right now if he was still healthy because of all what you're talking about, the vulnerabilities of the power teams. But the problem is
only at the back end. I mean, because I don't think
because this is a special year. This is a special circumstance.
Right.
But if they're going to lose their stud, I mean, shoot, what are we doing here? If Utah that year that they went undefeated with Urban Meyer didn't have Alex Smith, who in college was a big badass.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, what are they? That's the whole point of that kind of a program is you don't have that kind of depth to recover from a situation
Well,
like
I
that.
think the problem UCF has this year, and I get Milton's a special player, and he puts up numbers, and that offense is very good, and they're going to continue to put up numbers. I think
if we had that kid, how many games would we have won this year? Because he can run. He makes the right decisions. He can read.
Yeah, but we can't block, so I don't know. But but what one again?
Like 7 or 8.
Yeah, we might have won another couple games. But I would also say that again, their problem is that their defense is not nearly as good as it was a year ago. They lost too many good players off that defense. So that to me is the bigger issue with them. I do think that they'll continue to score. But listen, I'm the guy who said here earlier today, and I'll say it again now, and I'll say it again later. Memphis is probably going to beat them, and I'm kind of thinking they would have beat them with Milton.
Let's put Memphis in.
They should have beat him last time. Remember that comeback?
Yeah. That was crazy.
They should have beat him last time. The argument's not that UCF is a great team. It's just that there are no great teams when we get here. In the scenario that we just laid out, when you get to 4, if indeed Ohio State loses to Northwestern, come on now, and Oklahoma loses to Texas again, I guess you'd have to say Oklahoma, but I do have a problem with people losing their last game of the season, not winning their conference. It's a double whammy.
Well, I mean, Alabama got in last year doing just that.
Yeah, I hate it. I didn't like it then. I understood how it happened and why it happened, and under their rules and guidelines, I get it, but I don't like it. I think, I guess I'm arguing more for an amendment to the way we do things. I'm arguing more that we need to task the committee. You're right. Find the 4 best teams. Well, if that's arbitrary, if there are not parameters, then I'll go by recruiting rankings and eligible draft picks. Because truly that measures talent. The NFL is not in the habit of pecking people they don't think can play. And if somebody's projected to have 15 people drafted and another team has none, that team has more talent, period.
Yeah.
But the games are played, and they matter.
They do, to a degree. I mean, you don't have to be a conference champion. They proved the last 2 years.
That's correct, right.
I mean, Ohio State got in. They were insulated. They put them in 3, and then Alabama got in last year, obviously, as not the conference champion.
Well, and the problem is this. Here's another example. If Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama's certainly going.
Yeah, they're still in.
They're going.
Right.
So this is a useless game in a way for Alabama. I mean, it's almost like you could rest your – see, that's the absurdity.
The Iron Bowl was this way, and this game is this way for Alabama. Yes.
We've set it up as an absurdity now where you literally could, and it would be almost funny if Saban would do it. If he would go, I'm going to rest everybody. No starters are playing in the SEC championship game.
Well, yeah, they'd still be.
And they still get.
They probably wouldn't even be the 4 seed. They'd be. They probably put them in 2 or 3.
But because we don't care, because there are no repercussions for losing.
Yeah.
If you're a certain kind of team, well, then screw it.
But that's the nature of the playoffs. Like in general, in playoffs and in pro sports, I mean, that's why Week 17 nobody plays fantasy football then.
Right, but
because you got teams that have a home field clinch, and so they say the hell with it.
But nobody feels like because 6 teams from each side can get in, nobody feels like the regular season is useless because you're still fighting for positioning, you're fighting for home field advantage, you're fighting to make the playoffs as a wild card, you're fighting for something. Every game does seem to matter to people who watch the NFL, even though you can lose lots. You know,
I got a question for you. If Pitt beat Clemson, is Clemson still in?
Well, that's a dreadful loss because that Pitt team just got smoked by Miami, and they're not any good at all.
Let me flip this on its head. So Ohio State wins, Oklahoma wins. They're both 2-score or more.
Well,
victories.
but then they would only each have 1 loss, and then Clemson would have a loss, and guess what? Clemson's gone.
That'd be interesting.
But using your argument, I think Clemson's better than both Oklahoma and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I would think that even if they lost to Pitt. And it sucks, but that's not the way that committee will view that. The committee is going to...
That would be complete garbage. Like, Clemson should be able to take this game off.
But they're not going to be able to. If they lose and those 2 teams win, Oklahoma and Ohio State win, there's no chance Clemson gets in my opinion.
0 chance Oklahoma's in. The Ohio State argument would be an interesting one.
Well, but then they'd be Big Ten champions and they'd have 1 loss. albeit by like 105 points.
They'd argue they're trending in the right direction or something.
They do what they did because they did it to Wisconsin.
Yeah. If Clemson lost, what you'd do is you'd pair the 35 they gave up to South Carolina with this result.
And they'd say they're trending down.
And then Ohio State dropped 60 on Michigan.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so they wouldn't.
No, it's crazy. So crazy. Siri just interrupted our segment to yell at me.
What did she have to say?
She's like, I'm sorry I did not hear you.
Shut up, Siri.
Yeah, we're having a debate over here.
There's no good answer. I'm fighting hard for this non-UCF thing because they don't have their best players. So that's why. And I do get tired of the little guy thing.
I do too. And I get real tired of it. I know I root for Oklahoma. That's my second favorite team. Everybody knows who listens to this show. If you're new to the show, I got family that graduated from OU, lots of them. We had a farm in Oklahoma, the whole thing. I root for OU to do well. That's my second favorite team by far. I watch them play a lot. And when I bring up those results, and I mean, I'm mesmerized watching us sit around, 51-46 to Texas Tech.
Hey, you covered it, though.
56 to West Virginia, 40 to Kansas. I mean, God, dog. At some point, I'm like, look, guys, I can't defend you. You're just not going to stop.
You can't defend anybody, so I can't defend you.
I can't defend you. You got to make a stop. And they've got good players. There's no reason for that. None. But that whole league can go to hell.
I know I jumped all over the place. Bottom line is, if Milton's healthy and that doomsday happened, it's easy to put UCF in. I don't think it's hard for the committee at all. They may take 10 minutes to deliberate the whole damn thing.
I wish that, let's say they beat Memphis with their backup and they score a lot of points again, and then we find out it's really about the system and not the quarterbacks.
So they win like 48-27 or something like that?
You got to put them in.
I'll listen to the argument at that point. I don't think it's happening.
But at that point, you'd say they are a system team. You could plop anybody in, apparently, a quarterback, and then you'd say, well, okay.
I may have argued with a strong position there, but if that happens, then okay, fine, whatever. Go ahead. It's for the right to get your head chopped off by Alabama anyway.
And they're going to lose by 100. I agree. I kind of want to see them lose by 100 because I'm tired of them too, and yet I'm arguing for them.
It's the Michigan State game, Michigan State, Washington. It's like the first-round Alabama sacrifice game.
I want them to be reminded that they're miles away and that they benefit greatly from a horrible conference.
But wouldn't they be more reminded that they're miles away if the committee says, screw you,
well, they already
we're
did.
Putting in a 2-loss team?
They already did. Michigan remained in front of them, and Michigan got exposed as a fraud. That defense, which was lauded as the best in the country, couldn't get a stop to save their life. They were garbage. At least Michigan State held Ohio State to, 19 points or something?
Yeah, play their asses off.
What the hell are we doing here, Jim Harbaugh?
Can you fire him this year?
Well, they're not going to, but they got to think long and hard about what they have, which is disappointing. I mean, I can only imagine they are infinitely disappointed.
Give them the extension and put in a clause about for-cause firing, which is you got to beat Ohio State 2 out of 3.
Well, at some point,
you could fire you with cause.
The deal is this: at some point, you have to beat your rivals. We go through this with all these coaches. I bring up Cooper all the time at Ohio State to put it in reverse. I mean, that guy won 10 games on the regular. Well, I don't know if he did it on the regular, but he averaged 8-9 wins a year.
Yeah.
He wasn't losing.
Well, what's the storyline going to be here if we lose to Miami in this building next year? So you blow a 20-point lead on the road last year. That team wasn't even any good down there.
No.
And then you lose again to Miami. Now you're 0-4 against your rivals.
Oh, well, it's one of the things that really allowed for people to fight for Jimbo was that even when they had overwhelming evidence that this team was not playing up to their ability. This is the other thing, by the way. Fundamentally, when we get into debates about coaches, I like to come back to something. I understand prior achievement or lack of any of that stuff. Fine. And we're having these debates. But you have to look at what is your roster. So when Jimbo recruited so exceptionally well, the remnants of that was in 2014 and 2015. You're still winning games. You're just better because you got the number 1 pick in the draft playing quarterback. And
no business beating. Both of those games against Florida and Miami in 2014.
Crazy, right?
Way too close.
So we're winning games, and we're not looking good doing it, but wins matter, so you move on. You got your wins. You had an undefeated season. Certainly you can't fire anybody there, but it was the first alarm bell, right? Then you lose 3 games, and you lose 3 more games, and you lose 6 games. So this thing's trending in the wrong direction, and yet, Derwin James is maybe going to win Rookie of the Year. He can play.
Well, that was the debate when we were talking about Tampa drafting him, and you said no, and I said no. I said, but the problem is you can easily see a scenario by which
gets utilized
he's awesome,
properly.
and you go, shoot. Almost said it. You go, shoot, Charles Kelly. Are you kidding me?
Well, of course.
We have this freak.
Right. And you saw that going back 3 years ago where we're losing games. I mean, what business do we have losing to Georgia Tech? I mean, again, I'm talking about these moments where you're like, what in the hell, Jimbo? You're winning by 7 over Wake? Thanks, man. And Auden Tate's on your team? What are we doing? So we would see this all the time, right? And my argument was, for as great a coach as he is and a greater recruiter as he is, we don't play to our ability. We are clearly not put consistently in a position to succeed at the highest levels because we are not living up to what draft status, any number of things, right? And so,
I hope. I wish Auden stayed. He would have been worth a win at least.
Yeah.
Think about the Gavin drop in game 1 against Virginia Tech.
Sure.
You plug him in with Terry.
No, it would have been nice.
Oh, and what did he get? He got cut halfway through the season.
Hey, he brought back. He was playing last week.
He was playing?
Yeah,
he made the active
he
roster?
Started for Cincinnati last week.
He did not?
Yeah,
because Green's hurt?
He would have been – he had a touchdown. They overthrew him.
No way.
I watched the damn game, yeah.
You watched the Cincinnati game?
I got money on games, Tom. I watched games.
You watched the
Cleveland.
game?
I had Cleveland.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's wide open, and he overthrew him by like 15 yards. I'm like, what are we doing, Andy? I mean – yeah,
he still would have gotten more out of this year.
Well, he would.
He was here in Tallahassee.
He would have, but he was pulling a NFL paycheck last week. Yeah, he's on the field.
He made it back.
He did.
You made my Friday.
I know. Smile, buddy.
I'm happy as hell.
Smile, buddy. It's good news. Yeah, I was smiling too when I saw him because I saw the missed throw and I go, "Who's he?" That's Auden Tate. I got excited. They're like, Auden Tate was there. Yeah.
Well, this is a great day indeed.
A legitimate smile on Tom's face. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Congratulations, Friday. Loosey-goosey edition of the program continues now, and it's time for me to beat my mom. Every time I say that, it makes me laugh. It's just weird. That music does mean that, and if you would, Tom, cue it up.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick.
Go to your room! Ma, the meatloaf!
Take it away, Jeffrey.
Oh, Mama, I wish I had had more courage. I thought Dallas was going to win last night, and damn it if they didn't.
I know. I thought the same thing when I was making my picks. I said, if I had any nerve at all, I'd pick Dallas.
Yeah, it just set up for them right. That defense is arguably the best in the league. And they figured out the formula now in Dallas, which is to give the ball, or at least let Zeke touch it 25 to 35 times a game. That's kind of what you got to do.
Yeah,
which is why
I know. I know it. And they just, New Orleans made some very stupid mistakes.
Well, that'll happen when things are being taken away for the first time all year long.
Yeah, they really rushed Drew Brees a lot, and if he doesn't have time to go to his secondary receivers and stuff, he had some issues.
Well, nobody's been able to get to him. That's the thing. Underrated aspect of New Orleans this year is their offensive line is one of the best in the league, and so people haven't been able to get to him. But Dallas's defense is elite. And they were able to get to him. And that's any quarterback in the league. If you're getting pressured, getting hit, and you have to come off your first guy, or you got to move off your spot in the pocket, life gets difficult. And they took everything away from them last night. And I thought, I actually thought Dallas almost fooled around and lost the game with dumb mistakes of their own. But they were a dominant unit last night. Neither of us took them, so New Orleans gets the win.
I know, and now just to digress just a little bit, I won the only game we had different last week.
You are up 1.
I am up 1, just P.S. and by the way.
Yeah, you are up 1.
Okay.
I'm not worried. You seem to be on fragile ground. I can tell that the picks are looking weak lately.
I probably am, because this week has got some very iffy games. I have a feeling we're going to have a few different. Now, I could be wrong, but I have that feeling.
Let's find out. Right off the bat, I don't think we have this one different. We're both going to take Green Bay over Arizona.
We are.
All right. Chicago against the Giants.
I'm taking Chicago.
Carolina at the Bucks.
I know it. I'm going to take the Bucks. They're at the Bucks, and I just kind of think, they have a good chance. So I'm picking them. I know it's probably a little shaky, but I'm taking them.
Well, it's interesting. I love the Bucks and the number. Like if in gambling, if you're getting 3 or 3.5, and I've seen 3.5, I'm taking the Bucks because I think the Bucks will be in the game. And did you know Carolina's pass defense is in the bottom third of the league?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know me, I don't know all those statistics.
Well, the Bucks have a top 10 offense, so you're talking in passing offense in particular.
Right.
So I could see it, but I also think Carolina, being a team that's in the playoff hunt and reeling, will play as if they're going to play as if it's all on the line. And I can't trust our defense against the many weapons that Carolina has. It's a fun game. You're not crazy for picking the Bucks, but I'll take Carolina. There's our first difference.
Yeah, and our defense played much better last week. Now, I know they were only playing San Francisco, but still, I thought, we got, they seemed to step up a little bit.
Well, they're getting pressure on the quarterback, and they're sacking people left and right. These
days. They were.
So
I know. So that made me be a little encouraged.
All right. So anyhow, we have one different there. I took Carolina. You took the Bucks. All right. Baltimore at Atlanta.
I'm taking Atlanta. I don't really know why, but I think Baltimore isn't. What's his name? The quarterback, isn't he out?
No, Lamar Jackson's been starting for 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, is that right? See, I don't see that. I don't see them play very much, but I just knew that. I thought the quarterback was hurt. So,
but I'll take Atlanta as well. The Rams against Detroit.
I'm taking the Rams.
Cleveland at Houston.
I know. Now
I'm tempted too, but
I'm very tempted because I think Baker has got him playing. I took Houston.
Me too. Denver's at Cincinnati.
I know. I don't know about this game. I tell you, that's what I'm telling you. I took Cincinnati.
I took Denver. We have a second game difference.
I know, and I had a feeling.
It's 2 straight.
I know.
There you go. Buffalo at Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami because it's in Miami, and it's probably going to be hot.
Buffalo sucks. That's another good reason.
I know. So I took Miami. Miami is not much better, though.
Nope, they're not. Indianapolis at Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm taking Indy.
Me too. The Jets at Tennessee.
I'm taking the Jets.
Well, I'll take Tennessee. There you go. A third game
I
different.
told you. See, there's a lot of games this week.
All right. Well, Tennessee doesn't. It
doesn't impress you.
Doesn't impress you. It's right, but either do the Jets.
Neither do the Jets. I understand that.
All right, I'll take Tennessee. Kansas City's at Oakland.
Kansas City.
Minnesota's at New England.
I'm taking New England.
San Francisco's at Seattle.
Seattle.
The Chargers are at the Steelers. What a game.
That's a goodie, isn't it? I took the Chargers.
Wow. I'll take the Steelers. We have a fourth game different.
What did I tell you? I knew.
Yeah,
Your mother knew.
I love it. Yeah. I love that game, by the way. I could see it going either way. I absolutely understand why you took the Chargers. They're very, very, very good. I'll just take the Steelers at home to bounce back after a tough loss on the road against Denver last week.
I know it was.
All right. So now Washington at Philadelphia.
I know. See all these games that are so iffy. I took Philadelphia.
Me too.
Okay.
Their last best gasp, and
I
think
know
Washington's
it is the last
all the way
gasp
out. Yeah.
to try to salvage. I don't know what in the world happened to them this year.
Who, Washington or Philadelphia?
No, Philadelphia.
Injuries. They've got a gazillion people out. They've got receivers playing defensive back. They can't block it up in the run game, so they just kind of suck.
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm not a fan of Philadelphia, but I did pick them. So
well, I did too. All right, so we got four different, and I got the Steelers. You got the Chargers, obviously, and then you took the Bucks. And I like your bravery there. I could see it. I can see the Bucks. Winston's playing great.
I hope it pays off, but you never know with them. I don't know. It'll be like us to be down by 15 points or something, and then come back and tie it up and then lose in the last 2 seconds. That's what it usually happens.
I don't think we're going to be down by 15 at any juncture. I think it's going to be a close game throughout. I think Carolina's going to score because our defense isn't very good and they have a lot of weapons, but I don't think Carolina's defense is going to stop the passing game of Tampa Bay. And I think
we have a lot of weapons on offense.
That's true. And then I took the Titans and you took the Jets, and perhaps the more surprising of the picks this weekend, but okay. I can see with the points doing that straight up on the road with the Jets.
I know. Well, Tennessee, they have not impressed me at all. I mean, the Jets haven't either, but I just thought that was kind of an iffy game, so I'm going to see if the Jets will come through.
All right, Mama, feel better. Love you.
I will. I'm trying to. All right, you have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. She sounds like death. It's a tough time.
Sounds like a lifelong smoker.
I know. She's never smoked. Struggling. A lot of fun games this week and a lot of important games.
Did you know that Andy Dalton's hurt? Should we have informed her of that? The Broncos pick? I mean, the Bengals pick over the Broncos?
Yeah, it's her job to figure these things out.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Andy Dalton's hurt, but it may not hurt them. Andy Dalton ain't much. I mean, all Andy Dalton does is lose big games and a lot of games, period. They sneak into the playoffs. They lose that game every year. So maybe it's time for somebody else to give it a run. Maybe Driscoll will be the star that they're looking for.
Is that who it is? Is it
so,
Driscoll?
Yeah, it's Driscoll. Yeah. Well, and actually, that's a problem because I think they're actually buoyed. From reading about Cincinnati this week, I don't think the people love Andy Dalton.
So the team is going to try harder.
They're going to try harder.
Kind of like if we played James Blackman.
Well, exactly. But the other thing I'd say is, and this is also like if we had played James Blackman, Driscoll can move.
Yeah, he can move, yeah.
So the problem you have is that first week that a guy starts that nobody's seen, they just roll him out left and right, and they don't expose problems until you get 2 or 3 weeks down the road.
That is the same Jeff Driscoll, right? That's
I think so, yeah.
Florida.
It's been all over the
That was the guy who was going to be Tebow's successor. I remember this talk from Florida fans back in the day. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. We got Driscoll next.
But he left and played well. I mean, he's got some skills. I mean, I don't think he's an elite level NFL.
No, but
player.
he was going to be the next Tebow.
Oh, they thought so.
It was like,
yeah.
man, you guys are screwed. We got Driscoll.
Well, they had the guy. They just kicked him off the team, and it's a good thing they did because he's playing for the Carolina Panthers currently, and that would have been a problem for all of us. He would have been a better version of Tim Tebow.
Well, McElwain might still be working if they didn't kick off the other guy.
Yeah, boy, steady kicking off quarterbacks.
Man.
None of it surpasses our lunacy for kicking Randy Moss off the team all those years ago. Randy Moss. Sorry you smoked a joint. You got to go. That's crazy. Just damn crazy.
I have a feeling
it still angers me.
If Doc Brown came up, allowed you in the time machine, and you could do anything, I think you'd change that before preventing any atrocity in world history. I think you'd go back to Bowden's office and say, don't do this, Bobby.
It's just the dumbest damn thing on earth. It's just the dumbest thing ever. What are you doing? And in today's climate, everybody would be like, what? Are you crazy? It's a joint. Who cares? My man was on a work details, puffed a joint, and he got kicked off the team. I mean, my man, that is a guaranteed national title. Another one. Guaranteed. Ain't nobody stopping that. Think about those wide receivers with Randy Moss.
Yeah. Warwick and Coles.
Oh,
yeah.
What are we doing?
Winning. That's what we're
by
doing.
Like 105 points every week.
Yeah.
Because we had a dominating defense. I mean, that would have been the greatest team of all time. But no. The joint. We got to let you go. It's just. It would. We could have rewrite history. They would.
Yep.
I mean,
so you wouldn't prevent anything.
Oh,
in
of course,
human
I
history.
would prevent death and destruction. But God, dog it. This is just a no-brainer.
What if I could have 10 more minutes to just swing by the office?
Yeah. Well, and I just would have sat down and said, "Listen, I know you think in your heart that the public perception of keeping him around is bad. It's a bad look for your program, and it's a bad look for kids that you're recruiting, and it's a bad look to acquiesce. It's not, Coach. Believe me, that's an antiquated view."
He still believes the same thing.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. He let people stay on. Years later, guys did way worse, and they were on the team. No.
He probably didn't know in those days.
Well, you remember,
Who?
I mean, Moss came with baggage because of the Notre Dame
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
But you know, and they had told him the one strike thing. But
Xavier Smith.
I would have said,
Coach, we don't have a Xavier Smith.
Coach, I would have said, I promise you, this is a national title, and it's an easy one. Like, you don't understand. There's nobody that can line up and cover this group. It is going to be a bloodbath every Saturday. We can name the number. Name the number. They're screwed. If you want to double Randy, we'll go to Peter. Good luck with that. I mean, it's all they can't cover him now. What are they going to do with Randy?
That sounds woefully inappropriate.
What?
If you want to double Randy, we'll go to Peter.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, you think that's like a secret phrase?
It's like something from Austin Powers. They're going to double Randy, so we're going to go pizza.
Yeah. It sounds like something you'd hear in Tampa. But I mean, but listen.
So,
like you're an Ebor.
Well, or the tailgate lot of a Bucs game.
Sure.
So it continues. It persists, by the way. Jenna Lane from ESPN tweeted out that she had to park in a tailgate lot that was hosted by a strip club in order to get to work last weekend because she couldn't get to whatever parking spot.
That would be Tampa's reputation, yes.
My God. Even after the incident with the bus and the poles and stuff.
Tampa's got no shame, man. Tampa ain't worried about your perception. Tampa's not worried about what you think of that
better.
I've been saying Tampa needs to be better for a long time. I mean, everybody. I mean, listen, Tom, it's just tough. I feel like such a judgmental prick, but every time I go to Tampa for anything, the second I get out of my car, I'm like, look at these losers. It's the first thing I think of. I mean, it's the first thing that comes out of my mouth when I'm in Tampa.
Tampa proper, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Good God.
Rode hard, put up wet, baby.
All of them.
Rode hard, put up wet. Drinking a tall boy at noon on a Wednesday. I mean, that's just them, right? Skin all leathery as hell. Going to their construction job that they hate.
They look like they have a country accent, but they don't.
They don't.
That's the weird thing.
Yeah. It's just there's a feeling of meth in the air. Yeah. There's a lot of problems there, man.
Go to the Bucs game this weekend?
Oh, it's the worst.
Bet.
It's the worst.
You bet, brother. Turn up 98 Rock.
Oh, there's that and whatever else. Country station.
I love that playlist. Hasn't changed in 20 years.
It's just brutal. You're just kind of like, they'll be there in droves Sunday. My mom's not crazy on that Bucs pick. Something's wrong in Carolina.
Going to see Stain this weekend.
Gonna do a little cocaine and go see some Stain this weekend. It should be good. Maybe he'll play that country album he made. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. All right. It's going to be a fun weekend. Tonight, the Pac-12 Championship. You can hear it on 97.9 ESPN Radio. But first, coming up, Rattler Review. That, too, will be very, very good. Devastating losses at the end of the year for FAMU. Proud of that program and how far Willie took them in year one. But I got to say, you and I were talking during the break about FAM and how close that was to being a truly, truly special season. If you could have reversed sort of the season the way it played out and ended on an upswing, would have been nice. But I got to tell you, given the disarray and the inconsistencies of Florida A&M football over the last number of years, to see the stability that Coach Simmons brought and that they played with week to week, suggesting, it certainly portends, of very good things to come as he gets his program moving in the right direction and is able to recruit to it.
I'm still pissed about that game because if you thought that Randy Gregory nonsense was offsides last night, which was, that's ridiculous. He was not offsides.
But he's also not a real smart player.
I know, but it's not like – I got to say, those two calls last night, do it again.
The roughing?
It's legit. It is a legitimate penalty. But he gets unlucky. He gets cut, so he's falling forward after he gets cut. So
it's tough to give him the benefit of the doubt with all of his off the field.
Of
nonsense.
course, and Fox was more than happy to pile on. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but it's too easy. It's too easy.
Yeah.
That is an unfortunate break. They're going to look at the film. They're going to say, well, he got cut and he fell into him. It's not like he chose to dive at his leg.
Yeah.
And then that offsides was ticky-tack. But in the FAM game, the Florida Classic, that defensive end who chases Stanley out
is offside
by a yard.
By a yard. Well, and this is funny, Tom, you bring that up. It's a problem in today's game in a way that I don't remember it being. I hate to be the old man back in my day, but I'll be honest with you. That was always something. First of all, an official tells a player. The officials will absolutely talk to you. And we used to always get guys who wanted to get that extra half step, and that would be right there on the ball. And when you put your finger in the dirt, your hand in the dirt, and you look down that line, your eyes are even with the ball. You're offsides because your head is over for sure.
Yeah.
And that neutral zone, that is something officials would really regulate back in my day. They would say it. They would say, hey, you're offsides. Or they call out your number and tell you, next time.
Exactly.
And that was usually, but I don't know if are they not doing that now? Because we see it a lot.
Pissed me off is he did it a couple of times. And then in this case, it was even more egregious. It was like the back of the football was even with his fingers.
Yeah, you can't
like the
do
side
that,
closest to the center is even with his fingers.
Can't do it. It's a big deal, too. It affects the play.
Well, and it doesn't allow the left tackle to get out there where he needs to, flush the pocket, and pick six. The game's over, but none of it happens without that infraction. That's not called, and that's just that sucks. And FAM might not have scored on the drive, but I would have liked to see an honest chance. Yeah. They got the ball down there.
Well, Roy Schrock up next with a Rattler Review should be good. By the way, you're going to be watching the Pac-12 championship game tonight. I know you like to go out on the deck and chill out. It's a Friday. There's nothing going on, man.
Last time I did that, not good things happened.
Well, but so. Come on.
Not to me.
I'm just saying you can't predict some.
I know, no.
Real life
association.
Tragedy.
No, it's association with that.
Okay. Pick a different place.
Yeah.
It's still waning down of football is my point. We are in the weekend. There's nothing going on. We have zero responsibilities. Just let's relax and watch some ball, man.
Well, I got a program, a triple header tomorrow right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, which you can hear the Big 12 Championship, the SEC Championship, and the ACC Championship in sequence right here on these airwaves. Coverage beginning at 11 a.m.
Well done. How long that'll take you? Let's say. Let's see.
Well,
a couple hours.
Yeah, at least.
Come on.
With the avail structure we have?
Let's get it done, buddy. Let's get it done. Let's go watch that Pac-12 championship.
It's the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, it's football. We're down to the bottom of the barrel here, buddy. All the games are going to be questionable. You're going to be able to go, I don't know.
You're going to crack the window open tonight, and we'll see what happens from there.
That means you're not going anywhere. All right. That's all right. Well, I'm going to watch Memphis beat UCF this weekend. I'm excited about that. I'm done with that UCF team. I know everybody thinks it's a great story. I don't care about it. I'm ready for them to be gone. Sorry-ass schedule.
I think it's pretty much over in unfortunate fashion, given the quarterback injury.
I think they'd have lost with him. But we'll never know. So I'll just say that with great certainty.
They were lost with his sorry ass.
I'm not trying to be cruel. I mean, that's a devastating knee injury. I mean, devastating. Like, as in, it was scary for a moment. They had to get him in there to get surgery.
Yeah.
Surgery,
amputation and such.
Yeah, no, you never want to read that. That's terrible. I feel for him, but yeah, I mean, that team. Good work out of you. Good work,
You're
Matthew.
so honest.
Be well, everybody.